I am recording.
We are live. Tell your friends you're listening to the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
We have another very special episode. We have the 1990 movie Quigley Down Under. Nathan, do you have a history with Quigley Down Under?
Yes, I went and saw it in the movies theater
Oh, really? Okay, huh?
because it had two actors that I liked in it. Um, Tom
Oh.
Selleck. Why am I flubbing the name? I'm about Tom Selleck from Magnum PI and Runaway, and Alan Rickman from Die Hard. And did he do?
Robin Hood would have been around the same time as this.
Okay, because I know he was like the only good thing in Robin Hood, the Prince of Thieves. Well, I don't know. Like everyone kind of tried, but I know he was like a standout
I
guy.
mean, that was a bad movie that still made a lot of money, so.
Yeah.
See, yeah, 91 was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, so.
Okay, so this was kind of his
Yeah.
prototype sheriff.
Well, he did these three roles, and then he just like disappeared into like British theater for like 2 decades, and then reappeared when Dogma came out, which I guess that would be 9 years later. But
Yeah.
and then then the Harry Potter stuff, and then he was basically back. It's like, oh, Alan Rickman's back.
I saw some of his other stuff that he did. Like when he played. I think he was the guy who figured out how to hypnotize people. Or he did a lot of interesting side roles.
Okay.
It seems like when he was in bigger movies, he was always kind of like the same bad guy.
Yeah.
That was like his thing. But in smaller movies, he actually had massive range as an actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I thought he was just going off and doing British stuff. I thought that's what he meant to do. I didn't know if it was like he didn't like travel or he just like did what he wanted to. I couldn't remember. So.
Yeah, I think he just liked to do that stuff.
Well, he might have just been typecasted. Like, well, we love you as a bad guy, so why don't you keep being a bad guy? It's like I'm tired of doing that. So.
Well, he was almost instantly typecast.
Yeah.
So badly that everyone's like, we want that German actor from. He's not German. He's British. It's like, man, they are good actors. I thought he was German, so give me that German guy. Okay, he's not German.
So yeah, this was just like a big like cable movie for me, which I never watched this all the way through. I just remember like seeing the bucket scene like 8 times and thinking that's cool.
Yeah.
What's this rifle?
This was known as like a cable movie. Like this, like somebody bought the option to this and just ran it in serial.
Oh yeah, this seemed to be like a TNT like staple or something. Like this and Roadhouse, just run them, run them till they're dead.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, I feel like was this not successful?
It did not. No, it was not because
Okay.
it's the Box Office Mojo. It had a budget of 19.5 million, 24 with advertising, and only made 21 million back.
Okay.
So.
Because I figured like if this was successful, it would have been a larger series, but I don't think they ever came back to this. So.
Oh, when Tom Selleck was going around, there was interviews I watched with him on YouTube, and he said, "Yeah, we'll find out what happens to Quigley in the sequel." Like as they were doing promo, I thought, "Yeah, this is going to be a hit."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was a weird time for westerns because
this was kind of the beginning of like what the modern dark western.
Yeah, the prestige westerns, like we're winning Oscar westerns.
Yes,
but that's also like coming off of like I know I've said this before, but like westerns, the way comic book movies are now, westerns were that for like 50 fucking years, from like the 30s till 1970. The number one box office movies were all westerns. All TV shows were westerns. Everything revolved around westerns. And then somewhere around the 70s, that kind of went away, but not completely. So even around this time, you had like even a lot of people in this cast and production, they worked on like the Lonesome Dove TV series and things like that. And you still had like western TV shows. I remember like what's the Briscoe County Jr. or whatever that was.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of the weird western comedy.
Yeah, I think it only had one season, but it lives very large in my heart, I guess.
Yeah. You actually do like fourth wall breaking in that and stuff, where they just talk to the audience, like, and now.
And then there was also like what's it? Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, things like that.
Yeah.
Like those were still hanging around this time. So, but this is also like when you get Tombstone and Unforgiven and things like that. And then even like the
Dances with Wolves kind of
yes, yeah,
really like locked that genre in.
yeah, because
Uh,
that's like lots of money and Oscars, so it's like, oh, we're back. So,
yeah, and
uh,
they also become very expensive to make too because
well, yeah, that's the thing. They used to be cheap because you just like build a set and then just keep reusing the set, because that's what like Roger Corman did all the time. They would just like come in after a studio makes a western, and then they would just write a script in like 2 days and then shoot a western of their own in like a week and then put it out in theaters.
yeah, I think the prestige western. I'm gonna say for me that actually started way earlier with the outlaw Josie Wales.
Okay.
But that was kind of because that was Clint Eastwood, like his evolution through westerns is actually amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's actually, and some of those, like what they call spaghetti westerns, and some of those movies are actually some of the best movies ever made
Yeah.
as far as like storytelling and stuff. But yeah, I think like what we're talking about, like the prestige western, like they had the formula with outlaw Josie Wales. It was just like 7 years too early
Well,
because
no,
like people liked it because Clint Eastwood was in it, and that was
yeah.
cool.
Well, I
But
mean, well, that's the thing. It's like, so like Clint Eastwood in this, in like the Fistful, or the Good, the Bad, and the Wet. What is it? The Fistful of Dollars trilogy, or is it the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly trilogy? How do you call
I,
it?
I,
Fistful of Dollars trilogy. It's the first one. Even though the second one's weird because it's technically not a sequel, but it involves the same characters, but they're not the same characters.
yeah,
Um,
that's the one. Discontinuity can be continuity if you believe hard enough.
um, is that like so? Like they're like known bad guys, and everyone's a bad guy in those movies, and you kind of have fun with it. Whereas in like the more typical westerns, is like you have the guys in the black hats and the guys in the white hats, and like one of them's pure evil, and the other one's pure good. And then when you get stuff like Unforgiven, where it's like, well, here's a complicated bad guy who's trying to do good. But even we like you had the Quick and the Dead, which is just a B movie action western, which was awesome. That was around this time as well. So
Yeah,
um,
and this was an interesting western because what was the title? It was like it's the Wild West was never this far west or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It was set in
Well,
Australia.
yeah, this seemed like, I'm not sure if this is the first like Australian western movie, but like that became a thing like in the 2000s, where it's like Australia just started making westerns. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's very similar parallels to
Oh
the
yeah, it's like
native people and the uninhabitable land and all that stuff. So
yeah, the genre translates very well.
yeah,
Um, it's just, I mean, there are definitely some things that became different over time, but it took a long time. And yeah, Australia is a wild, it still is a wild place in a lot of ways.
yeah,
And scarier than the West, like because like in America, you have a lot of things that would kill you. You have a lot of environmental things. You have some dangerous animals, but it seems like in Australia, like sunscreen and spiders, if you don't have, those will get you. You know, it's like the sun will kill you, and then the spiders, and then every animal there is bizarre,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
doesn't non-conforming animals, uh, and you can't like in America, as you went further west, it's like, oh, a fertile valley, hills, mountain, rivers we can tame. We have north, south, and east, west rivers. Like we can dominate the land. Australia, you go further inland, you go, it's like you're going to Mars, or
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like everything's dead here. Nothing grows here.
yeah.
It's and everything will kill you. And
Um, so yeah, this came out October 19th, 1990. So I'm guessing you watched it around then.
yeah.
Or did you see opening day, or do you even remember?
I just know I watched it, and I think I would have been like 16 then.
Okay.
Maybe. So I don't think I had problems getting into this. I don't believe this was R rated.
I mean, do you remember like having a really good time, or how do you remember?
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was
Okay.
cool because it had Tom Selleck and Alan Rickman in it.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I at least like these guys, and they entertained me. I was entertained by it.
Okay.
It seemed a little then as now. It's like, well, there's the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah.
he's going to make friends with the natives, and it's all
I
the stuff that
mean,
like happened in
if
history.
I put on my woke hat, Nathan, the thing I'd worry about is this being a white savior movie, but I absolutely don't think that's the case here. It's just
No,
he doesn't believe in what they're doing to the Aboriginal, and then he just has to defend himself. He's not going there to teach them things. They help him out more than he helps them out. So that's not what's going on
yeah, he doesn't teach them how to build like rifles that can shoot people.
here.
No, he's just like, this is my skill, you have your skill, and we're gonna. You incidentally, you will benefit from the fact that I think it's amoral just to shoot an unarmed man in the head,
Yeah.
and so that's we're gonna work together.
Um, director Simon Windsor, who's kind of just Australian guy, did a lot of like action TV stuff and westerns as well. A lot of movies.
The Lonesome Dove TV series.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he just directed a couple episodes, but I'm not sure if he was, or he could have been a producer. I don't know. But he does a lot. He doesn't necessarily do like, oh, that's a great movie. He does a lot of movies that you're like, oh, that movie. So, like he did Daryl, which was like,
Yes.
I don't know if that's a good movie, but when I was a kid, it was cool that a kid was in charge of things and he flew an SR-71 Blackbird. So
Those are the best parts of the movie. Yeah.
he did the movie like Free Willy, which
Yep.
again, don't know if it's a good movie. I remember it being a thing at the time, because this Save the Whale stuff kind of revolves constantly back and forth. So
Yeah. It's in the zeitgeist whenever it comes back.
which now it's that Blackfish movie, or it's like, oh yeah, this is terrible. We maybe should not put these things in captivity.
Yeah, maybe they're like too smart to. He did Harley Davidson and the Marlboro,
Oh Jesus Christ!
which is like the
A
biggest.
good action movie, stupid movie.
Yeah, it's like I love the action scenes. It's like the dumbest thing to waste your time on.
Also, like you look at the cover and then you watch the movie and like the FBI guys are basically like from the Matrix before the Matrix existed.
Yeah.
um. Yeah. Oh yeah, he did the Phantom movie. Not good.
Yeah.
He did the Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles movie, which I guess seems on point. He did some more Tom Selleck Western movies. Like you got Crossfire Trail here.
Okay.
He directed Comanche Moon, which that's like the sequel to Lonesome Dove.
Yes.
Right? It's a miniseries.
Yep.
He did the Young Indiana Jones. He did a lot of the Young Indiana Jones TV stuff, which that was neat at the time.
Okay. I
Um,
don't think I've ever seen any of those.
Operation Dumble Drop, Lightning Jack, the not Crocodile Dundee movie.
Okay. Just with Paul Hogan in it.
Yeah. That's kind of the big stuff he did. Again, like makes fun movies, not necessarily the best movies. So he's a competent director. So, and then let's see here. Cinematographer is David Egby, who like we know. Well, I forget.
Yeah. The first cinematography film, Mad Max. It's like,
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's why we know.
let's see. What else do I know him? Well, cinematographer, everything with Simon, pretty much worked with Simon Windsor quite a bit.
Cinematographer on Pitch Black. That was a good movie. Oh, I think
Yeah.
I think he does the whole Chronicles of Riddick franchise. I think.
Yeah. I think him and David Torrey like worked.
Oh wait, no, maybe he just did the first and the last. Yeah, he did the first and the last one. So he did. Well, there's only 3, right? Yeah. There's only 3. So he didn't do the big budget one that we need to get to at some point because that's a crazy movie that should.
I love that movie.
Should never been made. I'm glad it was.
Close to my heart.
Daylight, Dragonheart, Space Above and Beyond, just one episode, so then,
Okay, he's in there.
yeah. A Fortress. Do you remember Fortress?
Is that the one with
It's like the future prison with Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, where they have to like pull the bombs out of their stomachs.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And they have they don't have like a door on their cell. It's just like if they cross, the invisible line, a laser will shoot them to death or something.
Yeah, it's fun.
Did that ever come to theaters? That was that like an HBO thing? I only
I
remember.
only remember it from like
Yes,
HBO rentals
but it
and
was
stuff.
like everywhere. And
Yeah, oh yeah,
it's like this movie never existed, and all of a sudden it existed, but like just in like cable TV and video stores.
yeah. It was. I think everyone was like, because Christopher Lambert was like, he was after the original Highlander. It's like, oh, you stick this guy in anything, people will watch him. Everyone thinks, oh, it's like the Highlander guy.
Yeah.
Even though the sequel to Highlander was like one of the most bizarre movies ever
Oh
made.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. What is it? Sean Connery's supposed to be like this Spaniard with a Scottish accent.
well, yeah, that was the original Highlander. I mean, the Highlander 2, the
Yeah, but
sequel.
he comes back even though he's clearly dead in the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Michael Ironside's the bad guy. It's a weird
Yeah,
movie.
and it's like a weird like future thing,
Yeah, it's like,
like '90s future, which meant it was just like dirty as hell. Everything can fly. It's like if you watch the Super Mario Brothers movie and that movie, they seem to have like share the same like design DNA of like how do you have a worse future?
yeah. Yeah, both those movies like look cool in a way, but they don't hold together very well. But yeah, that was a very 90s perception of the future,
Yeah.
which like didn't turn out to be true. It's like not everything can fly. So wrong about
And
that.
everything's brighter, but it's just as bleak.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't lost the sun yet. As a matter of fact, we have too much of it sometimes.
Writer is written by John Hill, who hasn't done much. He like did some TV work and also wrote this.
Yeah, he's kind of hard to work with, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want it because he wants it in his contract where he can't rewrite anything he
Oh,
writes.
okay.
He's one of those guys, I guess, from the little bit I found out about him.
Uh,
Uh, and he wrote this in the 70s,
okay.
but it just got kicked around because Steve McQueen was supposed to be Quigley, and then of course we talked about him earlier, Clint Eastwood, and then
Okay.
by the time they like it goes into production, it's like, well, Tom Selleck's a believable age and guy, so
Well, some trivia I read said that he wanted to do it, but he was too busy with Magnum PI, and so as soon as that wrapped up, they started making this movie. So.
yeah, he was like wanted to do it, but they had to wait a couple years. I think Magnum PI finally ended in 87.
89, I think.
Oh, was it 89? Okay.
Oh, and let me look. Because I want to say that movie. I want to say like Magnum PI started like the 80, like 1980, like spot on, but I can't remember. So yeah, it started in 1980. When did it end? 88. Okay, so yeah.
88. Okay.
But they probably shot this movie in 89. So
Yeah. And let's not forget the soundtrack, which is interesting because it was bad.
is it like famous, or is this just sound like vaguely close to something else more popular?
Oh, it sounds like vaguely like a lot of things. It was Basil Podaris, who we would know him best from the Verhoeven like RoboCop.
Oh, okay, okay, all
He did Red Dawn. He did Conan the Barbarian. He did Flesh and Blood.
right.
He did, like I said, RoboCop.
So he's done like a lot of our movies. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, he comes up a lot. I mean, the most famous, I can't think of. Probably RoboCop would be the most known. He did Starship Troopers, like
Oh,
all
okay,
the
yeah.
music was him. So yeah, it works with Verhoeven a lot, and but probably the best known thing it would be between, for me, probably between Conan the Barbarian and RoboCop. Other people maybe would know Starship Troopers better.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the music, because they do play that one like Western theme a lot, which he didn't come up with. That's a
Okay.
one. I forget what that's called.
Yeah,
but
because I was like, this sounds like 3 beats different from something I know. That's what I
yeah,
was like. It's like, does this movie started or is this from something else? So
nope, it's Basil Polardis. Or Poldaris. I'm probably saying his name right. It's a Greek name. I can never get
okay.
that.
Oh man, what was I gonna say? Oh no, can't remember. I was gonna intertwine it with something with maybe something Paul Verhoeven, but I can't remember. Oh well. Cast is Tom.
Well, I know this movie was produced by Paith Productions, which was when MGM bought the French studio.
Oh, okay.
Which like they're still around, but I
Oh,
think they get sold off.
this is the thing I was going to bring up: the inexplicable return of westerns in the '90s. City Slickers,
Yeah,
big enough to get a sequel.
yeah. Like, but a long time later, right? Wasn't
I
it
don't
like
no,
7 years between the
no,
second?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
yeah,
because it's like what the because like they had Jack Palance back because it's like the Legend of Curly's Gold, and he suddenly has a twin brother.
yeah.
It was like one of those conceits of like, why do you ever make a sequel to a comedy? A comedy that really wasn't good to begin with, but like it just struck a chord at the time. I don't know.
Well, I think the three main actors, like everyone loved them and their
Yeah,
dialogue, and I think like, what's the older guy? Jack Palance. It was, I think that was his last movie. Was the sequel.
yeah.
I think people loved like, yeah, this stoic guy with these three weirdos.
City Slickers was 91 and City Slickers 2 was 94. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a long gap there. I don't know.
Um, yeah, we need to investigate the Wayne's World movies for these. So, I keep hearing people. There's only, there's two movies that there's two comedies where I consider the sequel to be superior. Or no, I have one, and now I hear the other one. So I hear Wayne World 2 is a superior movie to Wayne's World, which I don't believe because I've watched it once and I didn't care for it. So I need to watch it again, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever remember watching Wayne's World 2? And did you like Wayne's World 1?
I liked Wayne's World 1. I don't remember watching Wayne's World 2.
Okay. And then the only sequel I consider to be superior to the original is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So
Yeah, that's true.
they are completely different movies, but I like Bogus Journey more. So
And we could maybe throw Empire Strikes Back in there. That would be very controversial to some people.
as a comedy.
No, just as a superior sequel.
Oh no! I just meant like there's definitely superior.
Comedy.
No, comedies it's almost never happens because comedies it's always just a cut and paste. It's like let's take everything, make it bigger, and do it again. Like there's hardly ever any effort put into sequels to comedies,
Okay.
and that's why it's just like, when you put forth the question, like, I mean, even put forth the question, what are good comedy sequels? Like it's a small list, and where is the second one superior to the first? That's an even smaller list. So, because you can have arguments all day about like sequels that are better, because like it's Terminator and Terminator 2 is one of it, but we've discovered that's kind of a generational thing. um, Evil Dead. It's like Evil Dead 2 is clearly like the better one, but there is still charm to the original Evil Dead and its independent production. And some people even might like Army of Darkness. That might be their best one of the series.
Yeah.
You look at the James Bond franchise, like you can almost, most of the movies are better than the first one. I don't know, stuff's not coming to mind right now, but yeah, there's a lot of, there are a lot of good sequels out there. So, Winter Soldier, a better movie than Captain America.
Yeah. I agree.
The cast is Tom Selleck, Laura Sean Giacomo, who's like you most know her from Just Shoot Me,
Yeah.
an inexplicable successful comedy in the 90s.
Yeah.
Where like David Spade is like a side character, and then like they correctly use Brian Posehn as just a weird enigma throughout the show. And it's like I can't remember anything about it. I don't remember it being good, but it seemed to have a good cast, and that must be what it floated on. But
Yeah.
went 7 seasons, so people got paid, so who cares?
Yeah. Everyone's getting their residuals.
And Alan Rickman, and then also who we will know. I didn't bring out. This is the surprise one is Ben Mendelsohn showing up. I was like, oh yeah, because we last saw him in Star Wars. Why am I forgetting the name?
Oh,
of it?
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One. Yeah,
Yeah, it was Krennic. Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess he'll be in the season 2 of Andor.
Yep, which that makes sense, I guess. So.
Yeah. Everyone's like, "That's such a great show." It's like, yeah, it's too bad all the characters are coming up against a hard wall. Kind of painted yourself in a corner there, but
well, no, it sounds like the showrunner, I'm forgetting his name because we talked about him a lot, only wants to do 2 seasons, so it's really up to Disney to how much they want to milk that. So, or give somebody like the most like unceremonious shot in the world of follow this. All right, I'll
here's
try.
your chance, kid. It's like, oh, no. Failure.
Just give it to a nepo baby; they'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I mean, they'll fail,
Make
but
some
they'll
music.
be fine. Yeah.
Where one sings.
So yeah, let's get into the movie. We got Act 1. We got Matthew Quigley, played by Tom Selleck, is gearing up. He points on a map to Australia. I didn't know what the timeline is because I looked around and they said it was like 1860s, but then like his rifle is like a model 1876 or something like that. So
1874. Yeah, it would actually, the guns would make the 1860s all the guns would be anachronistic in the movie almost.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, it's somewhere between the 1860s and 1890s.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't actually say. So we can assume it's post Civil War.
Yes, yeah.
So, because that's in the history of Australia after the American Civil War, a lot of Americans started showing up in Australia
okay.
because it's like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. And then they ended up doing that again, just in another country in a slightly different way. But yeah.
Yeah, so he gears up. He gets his rifle and his saddle and all stuff, his knife. And we get like a circle swipe, which is just kind of weird. I think this is the only time they use it in the movie, where it's like a circle just appears and wipes away the rest of the frame to a sailboat going out of San Francisco. Which, man, Nathan, how long would this ride have been?
3 months.
Okay, I was gonna guess that. So all right. He arrives in Fremantle, Western Australia. Quigley stops a guy being rude and impatient and lets an older couple go first off the boat. Then he insists on himself going next, and then he like hits the guy in the balls with his leg, and then walks out of there. You see Quigley walks past a chain gang, like, whatever in his gear. I can't remember what that's about. I don't know. What is this chain gang? Is he like the deserters or just prisoners being put to work, or what's going on here? Is that anything?
I'm not sure if that's...
I mean, well, actually, I forget that, Australia was a prison for Britain, so yeah, maybe that's just...
My impression was they were victims of what you call a press gang.
Okay.
Which, when the British needed crews for their ships, so they'll just go empty out the jails and like, well, you're a sailor now, good luck, and take them, back to the ship. They could be prisoners in transport. I don't know, but I'm assuming if it's a harbor, those are the infamous like British press gangs, where they used to just press men into service on ships.
Yeah, then we watched like a movie from like the 30s or something like about that, where like people just got imprisoned on the boat and they just had to work. So,
yep.
It's like, you're here anyways.
Might as well heave that rope.
So yeah, is Fremantle a real place, or do you know?
I probably assume it is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I know what Sydney and Perth.
Yeah.
And Gold Coast, is that a city or an entire region?
I think that describes a region.
Okay, all right.
Yes, Fremantle, Australia is a port city in Western Australia and located at the mouth of the Swan River near Perth. Okay.
Oh, it's in Western. Okay, so it's like the furthest west you can go in Australia. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh, okay. Because like Sydney and Perth, or wait, no, is Perth on the western side? But Sydney's on the east side, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Here Quigley mentions that he's from Wyoming. People keep coming up to him and like talking to him, like they kind of like are grifters here. So
yeah. Hey, you want to buy a bridge or whatever?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of making this seem like it's a seedy place. There's a wild woman fighting a bunch of guys who it's like, wait, they're trying to like basically like turn her into a sex slave. That's what's going on here
Yeah.
essentially. But then at the end of it, it's like, everyone's okay with it. It's like, this is weird. um, but there's a crazy Cora. This is played by Laura Sean Giacomo, who basically her whole thing is like a very short stacked lady. So that's Italian lady, I presume, because of her name, and she has dark hair. So
Yeah, she's from Jersey, but yeah, so probably Italian.
yeah, yeah. She calls Quigley Roy, which we'll find out about that eventually. And he talks about like, and she's like talking about like how he came for her, and he's like, "Lady, I don't know." So, which is also this is an interesting, kind of a frustrating character, but interesting because I feel like a lot of modern writing, especially when men are writing women, they get scared about giving women like flaws.
Yeah.
And so they just make them inexplicably good at everything and then uninteresting. So here's like a very flawed woman who kind of like uh yeah, has an interesting character arc of like by the end of it she's like found peace but is still crazy. So but perfect teeth and enjoyable nonetheless.
Yeah, I think she kind of earns it by the end of the movie. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, she's healed enough, but not completely like healed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like she still has to live kind of in a fantasy
Yeah,
world,
you
but
know, every woman needs their secrets, and this lady, some of them are lies. So.
yeah, and she has good reasons to keep them
Yeah,
because some of the stuff that happens to her, beyond just the rape and like imprisonment into sex gangs, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is like the least bad thing that's happened
Yeah,
to her.
because well, like some guy here says deliberately that they're trying to grab white women to have them as sex slaves rather than the Aborigine women. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So,
Yeah,
every woman's a sex slave. We just want a variety. It's like, oh, this is upsetting.
yeah,
um, Quigley puts his stuff down. He keeps his rifle, which is always fun because he's always has his rifle in hand, and then always has like it's like his judo stick too. So he just
yeah. For a precision shooting instrument, he uses this thing to club people quite a bit.
oh yeah,
But I guess in that era of technology, like he didn't have like lensed optics on it.
yeah.
It was kind of steampunk
I don't know. I
stuff.
mean, he's got the octagonal barrel, which I don't know if it makes it. I don't know if it makes it sturdier. It probably definitely makes it heavier.
Oh yeah, we know why they had those octagonal barrels now. Yeah,
no, no, because they always look cool, but they seem to like not do them. I imagine for practical and weight reasons.
no, it was because that was the only way they could hold things down to machine rifles into the bore.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was the fastest way to do that. Um, it was the fastest way to do that in production at that time.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, the handmade stuff didn't have that hexagonal barrel, but that was mass production, was to just feed hex stock into it
Okay.
because you could grab it at different points and just run a ream through there and make.
Well, this is a custom barrel, so did all Sharps rifles have
I
octagonal
think
barrels?
so.
Okay, all
I
right.
believe so. All the replicas I looked at on the internet did.
Okay, all right.
You can actually buy the Quigley gun.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to, but it looks cool.
Oh yeah, I read some trivia that said like the sales for a Sharps rifle went up like 9,000% after this movie,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this wasn't even a very successful movie.
No.
So what's that mean? They sold like 600 more rifles.
I mean, I fired a 45-70,
Yeah.
which is what this is based on. Now, they call it a 45-100 in this movie because it's a custom gun.
Yeah.
But I learned about now the 45-70 I fired was not like this. It was just like a lever action gun, like from the more like the 1880s, 1890s era. But what I learned about it is the guy that was shooting it with me, like him and his dad, that was like their grandpa's gun.
Okay.
And it fires these big black powder. It's not a neck down rifle. It's a straight wall round, but that's an old school type of rifle round. And you lob those in. Because they had like an old an old plow disc from a field, like way out there. Like we're just shooting straight across the field. It's a flat surface with a hill behind it, so you didn't kill anyone shooting a rifle. And I couldn't I would aim at it and it would hit the ground. And it's like, yeah, you got to lob it in. He's like, yeah, go a little higher. And he kept telling me higher, higher. And it's like, before you know it, it's like, okay, the disc is like looking at my thumb like 200 yards away. And I'm like 3 barrel heights above that disc. And once I got to that, I racked it back and fired it. Ding! It's like, that is crazy. He goes, yeah, these things drop like a rock because they don't have that velocity behind them.
Yeah.
Powder. And it's like, oh, so you're just throwing this like a baseball, just lob it in the hole. It's like, it's a weird gun to shoot. Didn't kick hard or anything.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Cool, old fashioned, like just straight wall rimmed cartridge, so you could load it with those rim cartridges were easier to retain and extract. So it's like, oh yeah, I've shot something kind of like this. It wasn't the cool sharps where it's just a breech block that falls down and you load it in. This one was like lever action, like the more traditional Western rifles.
Okay.
But it was funny when the guy told me, it's like, up, nope, keep going up. And then all of a sudden, ding! It's like, that's wild. So when I saw that, it's like, I've shot guns kind of like this, so I get what he's doing. He's like aiming like probably, I don't know, to hit some of the stuff he's hitting, he's probably aiming like as a man height above the guy to hit
him. But yeah, like when he hits stuff, he is not hitting it with the barrel, which is where the sight's attached to. So maybe it's not.
Okay, I just thought it was funny because when I think of like sighted long range telescopic optic, it's like, oh, you carry that in a Pelican case, and you're like, like you get punched in the face, like holding it up above your head so it doesn't get knocked off kilter.
And like, I only bring it up because this movie kind of like cherishes like it's guns and stuff. So you feel like,
well, this is a movie built around gun lore.
Yeah. Which why it was perfect for Tom Selleck. So.
Yeah, because he loves guns. I had an interesting explanation of the Second Amendment in a history thing I was reading a while back. Why America inculcated that into its permanent law, and versus like Australia, you can't it looks like the Wild West in this movie. You can't own guns like that anymore in Australia like we do here.
Yeah,
you can have some things, but I know the laws are restrictive. But do you know why one of the reasons that happened in America? Well, there's two reasons. Number one, the country was born of a violent revolution. So it's like, yeah, everyone needs guns. The British might come back.
Yeah.
Number two, after we got like to the Mississippi River, we kind of used to how other countries, especially were colonized and settled, was you had the fort system where you moved to a fort, you kind of lived in the fort, and then you expanded out and built farmsteads. In America, past a certain point, we're like, grab a gun, go. Have all the forts everywhere, because past a certain point, we just quit building them. It's like, head west, settle it, take all the guns you can carry. It's like, it's your right. And that has just been preserved now in our history.
Oh, okay.
Everyone else had like, well, we've got the British Army marching around. We did have armies out there, but the area was so vast versus the number of people. It's like, no, it's like, yeah, grab a gun, go, because that's, your house needs to be full of guns. They actually like had guns above windows, so you could just grab the gun, start shooting out the window, because you were the fort. The house was the fort, and you were the soldiers manning it. That made us completely different from all these other places. That's why, because Australia and New Zealand, New Zealand was just like a smaller place. In Australia, you can live around the ring.
Yeah.
Us, you just marched west and killed everything from here to the sea. It's like, yep, that's how it works. So
Cora tries to assist Quigley, but she is clumsily doing it. She even hits Quigley a bunch of times. So
she hits it, like one guy will duck and Quigley will take a boat oar to the sea. It's like, that sucks.
And then we get to one where like I think this is where he gets mad at Cora for keep calling him Roy, and he says his name's Matthew Quigley. And when he says that, the three guys like stop fighting him and like, oh, we're here for you. It's like, oh great, the sex traffickers are here to give me a ride to my new boss. It's like
I have landed in an open prison. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed in this movie, like everyone has a different accent.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like, most of the henchmen have like Irish accents.
What was the one guy? The guy, he's Scottish, right? The guy.
The guy with the feather has a Scottish accent.
Okay.
Accent. And Alan Rickman has an Alan Rickman accent.
So German British.
Yeah, It's that German actor, Alan Rick.
um, they take the wagon. It's being pulled by cattle, which I think Quigley's like kind of like he's
Yeah,
incensed
he's like,
by.
"Don't you guys ride horses here? I'm riding in a wagon with the women, you know." And they're like, "Well, throw your saddle on one of those cows or whatever was pulling it."
They make camp at night, which this makes it seem like the sex trafficking seems much less creepy because the ladies are just like drinking with the guys and making googly eyes at each other. So it's like, well, I think they want to be here. I don't know. Maybe they really have nothing else to do. So, um, Quigley roll.
Okay, so this period, I'll just mention this really quickly, because, like I said, I went on a deep dive of Australian history during one of my longer periods of unemployment, where it's like, okay, I'm going to the public library and I'm just going to read all the books I can about a subject, and the subject was Australia because of my love of the Road Warrior, which was entree into Australian culture, which like sounds really shallow and stupid, but actually they're pretty enthusiastic about it too. So it's like, okay, they love it, I'll love it also. So the period that this is set in, anywhere between 1860 and 1890, this is the gold rush period of Australia.
Huh, okay.
Their number one export to the world is gold.
All right.
And they also have significant exports of wool and other things, but they are a gold exporter. They are the most valuable colony in the British colonial system at this time.
Is that why Gold Coast gets its name, or is that a different reason? Okay.
Right. I believe so.
Okay.
But they are pulling massive amounts of. This is the longest period of prosperity in Australian history until the post World War II era, because after 1890, because in 1901 they get it nominal into kind of that Canadian independence, like they're still part of the Commonwealth, but they didn't fight a bloody war to get the British out.
Yeah.
And that is their darkest period of depression. They go into a depression essentially from 1890 until the end of the Second World War. Interestingly enough, they become the most unionized country in the world in that time.
Huh, okay.
Because the exploitation of people in Australia was absolutely horrendous, white or Aboriginal. I mean, for Aboriginal people, they just murdered.
Yeah.
White people were basically used as slaves there also. That's why guys like the Alan Rickman character make perfect sense, because they have there were evil men like that out there that just owned people. But it was all based on gold extraction, which is hellish work. And a lot of Australia's a lot of Australia's economy still is resource extraction.
Yeah.
You go in the interior and you work for 5 years and then you retire the rest of your life because your body is absolutely destroyed from being in the interior.
Yeah, what they find, like oil and uranium in the interior or something like that?
Yeah. A lot of some of the uranium that made our A bombs and the British nuclear arsenal came from Australia.
Oh, okay.
I think they set off a nuke in Central Australia and nuked a tank or something to test it out. I don't know the entire story there. It could have been an island. I don't know if they dropped nukes in Australia, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Or just set it up on a tower like we did here.
Yeah. Well, the British, it was a mad scramble to make nukes.
Oh, okay.
They thought it's like, will you give us the blueprints? We're like, no. Spend half our GDP to make that damn thing. That's our portable star. Make your own.
Quigley rolls a cigarette, which I thought he was making like powder charges, but his gun doesn't use powder. I mean, it's black powder, but it's a fully cased shells and stuff. So, which he smokes some of this movie. I think he gets to smoke one time, but like this is a time where everybody smoked in movies. But here they kind of this is a PG-13 movie.
Yeah,
which kind of seemed to be like, oh, what's this guy's name? Simon
Windsor.
Simon Windsor's things. He makes like a lot of like family friendly action movies.
Yeah,
even though there's quite a bit of violence and nudity in this movie, but it's that native people nudity that seems to get by the censors. Where it's like,
well, it doesn't seem the same.
Yeah,
like when you see like native women with no tops on, you don't think, oh, sex. It's like, oh no, this is how these people live.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
I imagine if they cast the native people as like Baywatch extras and like had them be topless, that would have been no X-rated.
yeah, no, yeah. It's just like this seems normal.
Yeah. I mean, we said that also, but well, we said that about Emerald Forest, but that was an R-rated movie. But this is PG-13. But
Yeah.
also, this
This
one,
movie has like a comedic element to it that does run throughout it that keeps
yeah.
it kind of light despite some of the subject matter. It's
Well, again, well, also this is like the time where it's like if you wanted to see boobs, get National Geographic. Or again, it's like pictures of native people and no sexual situations. It's just people living, so that's why
yeah.
it's okay because this is just how it is. Um, yeah, this is also where everyone's wounds are being attended to. Cora tries to bandage Quigley's head, and it's just kind of like a comedy of errors as he tries to get away from her, and she tries to like come up behind him and like wrap his head in like a bandage, and then they both nearly step in fire the whole time, which I was worried about. Um,
Yeah, her and Tom Selleck seem to have like a natural vibe. Like they it is believable kind of what they're doing. I know it's played for comedy, but they also seem to like actually like they had fun filming it.
yeah.
Like so
Well,
that
also
was
like their characters are like they're the only Americans there, so like they have
yeah,
like,
that's true.
vaguely that thing in common. So, which I guess she's from Texas and he's from Wyoming, or at least he currently lives in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Um, we cut to it's morning. They're headed east, maybe. Yeah, they headed east. Yeah, because they got on the west coast. The caravan runs across a British Army platoon. They have like dead body of suspected cattle thief. They're Aboriginal. They're also looking for two deserters, like from the British Army.
Yeah.
They cross some kangaroos, which they're like, oh, look at these weird things, but like, kangaroos like are a nuisance in Australia. I'm not sure if they were then. They definitely are now. So
No, they are then, and it's just funny to see that sign like we have for the deer crossings.
yeah,
They have that in Australia, but with a kangaroo, and
yeah.
we think that's funny, but it's like not if they're bashing into your car. Funny.
Yeah, kangaroos are cute until they start like boxing you or kicking you, and they're like 7 feet tall. It's like, um, Quigley like is like cleaning up his like rear sight ladder. He's got a vernier sight, or it's like a special thing. Is the veneer just the ladder thing? But he's also got this peep sight on the ladder thing, so it's slightly different.
Yeah, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, it's a vernier globe sight.
Okay, all right.
Or no, the front sight is the globe sight. Yeah, it's just a vernier sight.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the long peep sight.
okay.
Yeah.
Quigley,
Experience with those kind of guns. They just look cool.
yeah. Yeah. What's the simplest sighting system I've ever used? Because I've used the AK-47 one. That's not exactly a vernier sight.
Yeah,
it's
it's like an elevated ramp yardage sight.
yeah. There's some like that's always the weird shit with like Napoleonic rifles and things beyond that, where it's like this thing can shoot out to 1,800 yards. It's like great, you can't even see the fucking target. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But then you learn like the fighting style back then is that no, the rifles are so inaccurate. It's about volley fire, and like you're all aiming in a square, and you're trying to get a square. You all hit a square. So it's not about aiming at one thing and shooting it from that distance. It's about lobbing a bunch of things from a distance. So
That's why everyone's standing in a line like lunatics. It's the most massed fire is the most effective way to do it. Well, it's the most effective way to do it in Europe in open fields.
yeah.
Right? A lot of the Revolutionary War, they did some of that, but a lot of it was guys shooting from the woods because we were better with long range rifles than they were because our guys were deer hunters.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we did a lot of like shooting, dishonorable native fighting. It's like,
we're outgunned, outnumbered. Oh, I guess we're cheat.
yeah, cheat and like use aimed fire from the woods.
Bunch of fucking losers winning.
or like jump down and use tomahawks that we learned from the natives, which that actually really happened.
Yeah, because when does like the idea of the sniper first come into? Like with a
Civil War, I believe, was the first time I remember reading about
okay.
it consistently.
Well, I thought I heard something about. I don't. Yeah, I couldn't remember what war it was. I remember there's some guy that they talk about being a sniper. I thought it was versus the British because they basically like the army ordered a hit out on one guy because he was so good at like just picking off like
Of generals and
yes,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean,
no,
they had rifled weapons back then, so
yeah.
yeah, someone who had one of those would probably.
But there also seemed to be like this 30-year gap where they thought that was ungentlemanly warfare to have a sniper, and then when like World War I comes around, it's like, let's bring this back.
Yeah. Oh, World War One, they went whole hog. I mean, they just mounted axes and bayonets on the end of shotguns. They used throwers. It's like, yeah, they didn't. They kind of pulled some of that back for World War Two. They used poison gas. Yeah, they just went crazy in World War One. World War Two, they pulled it back a little bit. I mean, you can debate whether like napalm is worse than poison gas. I don't know, but
Quigley tries to talk to Cora like she's a human, and then she offers herself to be taken. So he's like, he's not interested.
awkward. I like his reaction. It's like, are you crazy?
Yeah, yeah. Quigley rebukes her and then walks off.
Yeah. Well, because everyone's covered in filth too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be sad.
This I think this might be the line where he says like he says something like he'll only sleep with her if she says 2 words, and that's Matthew Quigley because she keeps calling him Roy, so he's very off put by that. I'm being cucked by a ghost. Well, I guess no. I guess her husband's still alive. But the wagon makes it to a destination of a farmstead. It says Marston Waters, right on
Yes.
on that. Which that's not, or is that just the name of the place? Like, is it just called Marston Waters, or is that supposed to be a person's name?
I think it's the name of the place because it's the last guy's name.
Yeah, it's Elliot Marston's.
So
is the character.
Yeah,
Elliot Marston's played by Alan Rickman. He greets Quigley first. I wrote Ben Mendelsohn's in here somewhere because I had it on Amazon, so I knew he's in there. It's like, oh, where he plays O'Flynn, so he's supposed to be the more Irish guy. So, but he's an Australian actor, right?
Yes.
He's doing is he doing an Irish accent? I can't
I think all the guys had the Irish accent. Like most of the roustabouts were Irish, and then the one guy was Scottish because he had like the feather and the Scottish hat.
Yeah.
Which so I would assume that meant he was ex
military,
ex dragoon or whatever.
Okay. Quigley demands payment for his trouble so far. Elliot sent out a job listing for like the finest marksman in the world, which Quigley sent back like the wanted or the classified with a tight grouping of shots,
and it said 900 yards, which is absolutely monster insane for that time.
Yeah. What
kind of imagery?
Yeah, what's that minute of angle? Or what's that measurement they use for how close a grouping is?
Yeah, minute of angle.
No, it's not. Well, no, it's no. What do they call it?
Or
crap. Because I know like all the rifle channels talk about like it's like this is how tight its grouping is, and there's some kind of. I mean, it does have to deal with the minute of angle, but I forget what it's called. But
okay.
It's got because they say it's got a sub 1 inch something.
I thought it was sub 1 inch minute of angle.
I think it's a different.
Okay, it could be. I don't know much about rifle stuff. I don't have enough space around me to get into rifles.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, maybe a sub 1 minute angle, which just basically means if you fired 6 shots, all 6 shots would be within a 1 inch like circle of each other.
Yeah.
Which is insanely tight grouping. So
yeah, that's nuts.
Because you have all
that if I was standing in front of a target.
Which also that's reliant on like your ammo you're using. Like, well, how consistent was the ammo manufactured, and like as you're shooting, like the rifle heats up, and how does that affect every shot henceforth, and all that stuff. Everything.
And if wood stock, is it like as it heats up, is it putting pressure on the barrel and knocking it off? That's why they went to synthetic stocks. Are your bow tail rounds like completely perpendicular? And there's all kinds of shit.
Which for this rifle is absolutely insane that he can be this good with it. But like I will find out it's all custom made. So.
Yeah.
Quigley So, Quigley shows off his Sharps rifles and its modifications. So yeah, this is a Sharps. What did you say? 1874 rifle? Or yeah, you go through the stats of this rifle. So.
Yes, this is the Shiloh Sharps 1874 long range rifle. It has a 34-inch barrel, which is
4 inches long.
Standard.
Yeah.
The replicas you can buy are 45-70. This is a 45-110 with it's 540 grain round, which it's they call it a paper patch bullet. So I'm guessing when they're put together, they're using like a wax paper patch to seal it.
Oh, okay. So that's how they reload it.
Yeah, because these are straight wall rounds, I believe, or maybe they have a slight taper to them, so that would like really accurately seat it.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I'm just guessing here, folks. And then of course it has the double set triggers, which means you basically make it into a hair trigger.
Yeah, you pull one, and then that preps the other one to be like the slightest pull. So.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a safety. You'd have to pull both triggers to fire it. So.
Yeah.
But it makes the last pull as smooth as possible. So.
Yep. And you can buy a replica of this gun from I don't know if it's Shiloh Manufacturing or a Bertle or anyway, they're about $2,500 if you want one.
I guess that doesn't seem bad for how guns can go sometimes. So
yeah, I mean it's a cool like old fashioned gun, and if I live somewhere where I could shoot one, I'd probably have one.
I think I read some trivia that said Tom Selleck had like 3 of these from the movie, and he's auctioned them all off. So they're out there.
He gave one of them to Brownells in Iowa.
Okay, all right.
Their museum. That's the video I watched on it because
okay.
The GunTube guys we like to watch did a video on it.
Oh, okay. Hey, I can go there, I guess. Field trip for the podcast.
Yep.
So yeah, like all the ammo he has is like on his he's got a gun belt, but it's really just his ammo belt. These are these extra long, or that's how those cartridges are the cartridges longer, or is it just or is the bullet case just the thing that's extra?
Oh no, the cartridges are pretty long.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're pretty big. I remember from actually like the one I showed, the 45-70. It's like a big round, but it's one of those ones you can shake it and you can hear the powder moving around.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's kind of like I forget why those old rounds are like, because 38 rounds are like that too. It allows for partial expansion before it hits the barrel or something.
Well, at some point in this movie, he is running out of ammo and he gets them reloaded, which I don't know. They don't explain that process at all, but like
no,
but it's possible.
No, because the guy who's reloading them, like it's like tech talk with guns. It's like, well, these are an odd thing, and he's like, no, just take the British Enfield and neck it down like 1/8 of an inch. And it's like, oh,
you're German, you'll get it.
I understand. Oh, I was wrong. No, this gun's almost $4,000 if you want the
okay.
That's worth it. I'm getting one. I'm having it shipped to my house.
Yeah, I don't know what the standard sights are on it, but so yeah, it's got this vernier sight, which is like this thing that pops up. It's like it stands like perpendicular to the rifle, and it's like 4 inches tall, and it has a little thing on it you can move up and down to adjust your sighting. And then it's got like a tube up front that you aim through as well, which I couldn't figure that out. I'd have to see that for myself, because when you see it from the outside, it's like, I don't think that would work. So
yeah, that's called a globe sight. That's what I got wrong earlier, but yeah,
okay.
Whatever that does.
Well, it's kind of long, so I'm guessing like once you get a sight, that when you get a sight that once you can see through it, it'll be parallel, so it must be extra accurate. Because also the peep sight on the vernier ladder is very small as well, and the smaller you make that hole, the more accurate your shot will be.
Yeah.
So, also the more frustrating it is to aim it.
Yeah, because it's like, stop breathing.
Well,
stop beating your heart.
Well, and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
You can only see what the pin, like the little pinhole. So.
Yeah, it's called tunnel vision. Yeah.
Yeah. Quigley claims it shoots accurately farther than the 1,200 yards that's on the veneer site can go, which means he's like at some point aiming above the veneer site, just like
Yeah,
freehanding it or something. It's like,
he's doing super math.
yeah, he's just it just becomes an artillery piece at some point. um, Elliot sends a guy out to bring a bucket far away to shoot, and there's a long wait to like set down the bucket. Where like so every time like Elliot's like, "Sure, want to put it here," and he just like waits. It's like, nah, not yet. Because Elliot, we'll learn Elliot later on. Elliot is a good um, revolver shooter, so he can shoot accurately, quickly, and close. So he's not used to like long distance shooting, which is why he apparently needed to hire somebody for long distance shooting. Um, uh, yeah, so Quigley prepares a shot from standing, which is way, way harder. He pulls one trigger. He gets interrupted by Elliot, which I forget what he does here. He's like, "You sure you want to do this?" And then he shoots the barrel like 4 times, and it keeps like flying up in the air. So it's pretty funny. Which they do that. This is like this is a magical bullet because like anything that gets shot by this thing just gets yanked back by
Yeah,
like 50 feet. So it's fun.
yeah. These bullets have a throw weight of like 400. Like they're just this massive energy
Yeah.
deposit with these things.
Um. So yeah, Quigley is hired. Quigley demands Elliot have his men leave Cora alone. So it's a presumption is like all the other women are gonna get raped or whatever. So it's like, but whatever. You don't see that, so it's up to your imagination. The horrors that happen to women that don't exist in the later on in the movie.
Yeah, it seems to run away.
Yeah. We do see like 3 Aboriginal people here. There's 2 women and 1 guy who's like a butler. So, which
Yeah,
they'll come into play later on. Um, the British deserters are brought back to the farm. Elliot threatens to send them back to the British to die by firing squad. And then they try to like both grab guns, and Elliot shoots them both, which just seems to be kind of a setup. Like he just wanted to kill these guys.
yeah.
And then does he get money for like giving the bodies back to the British, or what's going
I
on?
would assume so.
Okay.
This guy doesn't seem to do much unless it benefits him somehow. So
Yeah, I don't know how Elliot makes money, but he's presumably making bunch of money to have all this stuff. So, he's got like 16 people under his employ. He's got like 3 buildings. It's like a butler.
yeah,
Boss, a lot of this is being held under gun and you know uh, lack of authorities. Because even the British, who seem to be like the only authority in this place, don't seem to be dispensing much authority other than to just kill people they don't like. So,
yeah.
sad that being the end of Act One, because basically it's like, okay, Quigley got hired, which is really the story's kind of like the poorest thing about this movie, because it's like, why is Quigley there? It's immediately dismissed when he learns that he's here to kill Aboriginal people, and then that's just like, and then the rest of the movie's just survival. So it's
Yeah.
like the motivation to come out here seems like,
Yeah, he was suspicious of it from the beginning.
yeah,
Like, why are you hiring like world class marksmen to shoot? Because he says he need people to shoot dingoes,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah, you could manage that just fine with rifles. You
Oh,
don't need
okay,
regular riflemen.
okay. I didn't know it was stated that explicitly. I thought there was like he was intrigued by whatever they were promising, but I'm guessing he thought this was suspicious and just had free time. I don't know.
Well, once he didn't know what it was like in Australia, and then once he got there and saw like, it's like, yeah, I don't think I'm here to shoot dingoes. Like he
Okay.
figured it out pretty quick.
But what do you think Quigley's motivation to do this in the first place is? Is it just to
I'm
prove
not.
to himself or
I'm
what?
not sure. I don't know that we know nothing about his backstory.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's like a Civil War veteran who's just kind of
Well,
trying.
that's what I was like guessing, because he has that weird like double button vest thing going on, which is usually like that's like Civil War stuff, but maybe that was just also just a style at the time. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's like we don't know what his motivations are. But he just seems like, again, he's kind of like this is a kind of a Western that's caught between 2 eras, because it's like, well, he's the white hat essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we don't know what his motivation is. He's here to spread good time.
Yeah. I mean, also I guess because Australia kind of makes him the fish out of water tale kind of what, but which that's kind of like Simon Windsor's thing is like kind of comedy and kind of action. We're putting them together to make a family movie. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Would you consider this a family movie, or who do you think this was marketed towards?
probably teenagers. Like, let's go to a movie with dad with our teenage son,
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah.
like 12 to 18. Not wouldn't taking the 8-year-olds. Like it's a little dark, but yeah.
So we have Act Two. We got dinner time with Elliot. Um, what's that? For some reason, I wrote time out front, so I don't know what that means. Oh yeah, pretty. Oh yeah, we spend time out front. I'm pretty sure the dude in the red shirt is Ben Mendelsohn, and yes, that's it. So, a very young Ben Mendelsohn. Well, I guess he's not. He's born in '69, so he would have been like 20 in this movie. So, but then like that's my two time periods because I first known him for Rogue One, so it's like this, which that's like what 2010. So that's
Yeah.
like 20 years later.
Yeah.
um, which I don't know. Did he seem to have more or less of a lisp here, or was that like a character thing? I can't remember.
I didn't notice it as much.
I,
But he was also yelling most of the time.
yeah, that's
So
right. I don't know.
it's,
Maybe it's weird. Maybe when he does an Irish accent, he loses his lisp or
that
something
could
like
be, yeah.
that. um, Elliot and Quigley have a fancy dinner. They talk about guns. Like I think this is the mention of like Quigley says he doesn't has no need for revolvers. Because like he still has his rifle with him even at the dinner table, just never loses it. Uh, and then yeah, this is where Elliot talks about like the Colt. Well, this isn't the single action army. This is like the Civil War revolver, right?
I believe
This is
so.
like the ball and cap revolver.
Yeah. Cap and ball Colt.
Yeah, yeah.
You look it up. I got my firearms database. Colt 1860 Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which he has an affinity for here.
Yeah, that's what Alan Rickman likes.
Um,
Marston likes actually. But I've shot a modernized version of one of these, a black powder version.
yeah.
They have an interesting. The ergonomics of guns have improved massively since then, but they do have an interesting ergonomics to them.
Yeah.
Like they naturally ride in the palm of your hand, just picking them up in a very comfortable shooting. Like you don't have to really like torture your hands to shoot a gun of that era. They're very
Well,
heavy,
yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
but
I mean,
does
like
balance nicely.
a Colt single action army isn't too far different design, and you look at like the crazy things people can do with those. So like, and like people aren't doing that stuff with modern. You're not doing that with a Glock. You're not spinning around and doing trick shooting with Glocks, but you are.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, you might pull the trigger. The neat thing about it is you have to fan the hammer back every time you shoot it.
Yeah.
So it's like intrinsically kind of safe unless you put it on a loaded chamber and smack the hammer because
Yeah.
it could fire that way too. But
Yeah, because that's the learn. It's called a cowboy load.
yeah,
So you never actually load every chamber. You leave one empty, and that's where it sits. And then
Yep.
when you pull the trigger, the cylinder moves, throws a bullet in the place of the hammer to fire, and so you're always ready to go, but you're never in danger of smacking the end and shooting your foot. So
but the one I shot was a black powder conversion, which meant you didn't have to do the cap and ball. It fired actually.
oh, okay.
But you did the cylinder did come out of the gun. You could reload it that way faster too.
Yeah, because there's that little thing underneath that like you use it to like load
Yeah,
the chambers with it. So
yeah, that's called the cap and ball variety. I didn't fire one like that. I fired a more modern one, but like I said, it was black powder, so the felt recoil was minimalistic on it.
okay.
With the weight of the gun, it's like, oh, this is cool to fire, but it is so over large. It's like, and it's not even hard to aim.
Huh.
But it's such an over large gun. It's like, yeah, this is from another era. This is wildly inefficient, but yeah.
Yeah, and what's also famously used in The Preacher? What's that guy who's basically like
Oh, the prince or the what's he called? The something of assassins. Yeah.
yeah, the Prince of his. He's basically he just has these. He was like a Civil War veteran that basically like Satan used him to be an assassin, and then he killed Satan with the guns blessed by Satan.
Yeah.
Because they have there's no they have unlimited ammo. He never has to load them, so there's just literally panels of him like killing thousands of people, and like just the bodies are piling up around him. So
Yep. They're interesting guns from an ergonomic standpoint for that time. That's like pretty well made.
yeah.
But they recoil like a 38 light load or something. It's very
Huh.
interesting. They don't have a lot. There's not a lot of felt recoil, at least not with the ones I shot.
But it uses like a heavy round in it.
It's a 44 caliber round, but it's black powder.
Okay.
So it's not, anything black powder is like lower.
Yeah.
It's going to make a cool looking flash, but like, yeah, 9 millimeters way faster. It's just going to look cool.
We have Elliot talks about the Indians and how basically America like got rid of them. So he compares the Aboriginals to them and how they're unable to tame them. And he just wants them dead. There's an Aboriginal servant here, and he also says that they know how to stay out of rifle range. So that's why Quigley's being hired, because he can pick them off from from a longer distance.
Which is like the worst kind of killing. It's just like, I'm going to look down the sight and kill this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Then we cut to Elliot being thrown out of the window by Quigley. Like this just becomes comical. So he's like, well, he rejects this notion immediately, which makes it weird because now he just invalidated all Quigley's motivation, and now it's just pure survival now. Because he could have said no and walked out of there, but he made a point to throw him out of a window.
Yeah.
In protest. Elliot tells his gang to go after Quigley, but they're scared to go in there while he has his rifle, which they're right to. Quigley kicks over the table eventually and sets it up for an ambush, but then the Aboriginal servant comes up and knocks Quigley out with a shovel. So he's like, "Oh no!" It's also very '90s where it's like the main character's dead to rights and the bad guys don't kill him. So,
Yeah.
even though no one's saying capture him alive, they're saying him like reward kill him. So Quigley is being surrounded and kicked by the gang. Cora runs in to assist and she just gets punched out. He tells them in to take Quigley and Cora out into the outback and dump them out and let the land kill them. So like he's not going to kill them himself, because I guess presumably that'd look bad on him, even though it seems like there's not a lot of like people investigating things here. So or maybe just letting out the outback kill you is a crueler fate than a bullet.
Yeah, that's worse. Like just running out of water is a terrible death. So
we cut to them dumping the bodies. As the goons are leaving, Quigley whispers, "You forgot the gold." And so as the goons like, "All right," which is like almost comical. It's like there's no way you're hearing a whisper over the wagon moving out of there, but whatever.
Yeah.
As the goon comes up to go for the gold, he pulls his knife on him and stabs him. He grabs his rifle and the ammo belt on him, because the goon had the rifle and the ammo belt. Now he's got his rifle and ammo back. And the other guy's like running on. He's just like, "Hiya!" and like trying to get out there as quickly as possible on the wagon with the horses. And then he shoots him in the head from like half a mile away or whatever. So, well, he's aiming off another guy's body, so he is in a prone position. So this is a much better shot. But
yeah, he's using a human sandbag.
And then Quigley cuts Cora free. Then we cut to Cora and Quigley are walk through the desert. There's some debate about how to best survive, where she's saying to walk at night, which I don't remember. I remember it's like you're supposed to wear layers to like kind of like have the your sweat kind of like keep you cool.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I don't know. Do you remember anything about desert survival, Nathan?
All I know about desert survival is stay out of the desert. Too big and too light skinned for the desert.
Yeah. They stumble through the night and into the morning. Cora takes the ammo belt off of Quigley. And then we cut to it's more time later. Cora just collapses eventually, and Quigley grabs the ammo belt and keeps going, but then he thinks twice, because it's like, oh, is he just going to abandon there? Or is he going to come back for her? But then he picks up her body and he moves on. Then we have a shot of them just laying in the desert, so they're basically dead. So, We cut to next scene. The British soldiers show up at Elliot's farm with the bodies of his goons on some horses, which here Elliot was expecting it to be Quigley and Cora, but it's not. Which he should have been expected when the guy kept saying, "We have two men here," and he only said that. So, um, so we know that they're not dead. Then we have cut to Quigley wakes up to Aborigine chanting over them. The people take them away to their camp. They do some like ceremony and caretaking, and then Quigley and Cora wake up surprised that they're not dead. There's a woman that brings some grubs over for them to eat, and there's some debate here about whether they should eat the grub. So like, Quigley has Cora eat the grub first, and then he eventually caves in and eats a grub as well. So.
And these are huge too.
Yeah.
Your thumb, like these aren't like little worms. Like I can do a little worm. It's like this thing's gonna like fight you.
This thing's gonna burst in your mouth and still be wiggling on the way down.
It's terrifying. I guess they were made out of dough.
Yeah, well, you can see like when they actually put one in their mouth, they're like,
yeah,
they're not putting an actual one. They're just something that looks like it. Then we have like a montage of Quigley learning survival techniques from the Aborigine, like how to find water and other things, and he's teaching them stuff too, like how to like make a whip out of like kangaroo skin and stuff like that. So,
which are still the best whips, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay. Huh.
Yeah, because there was a time in my life when I wanted to learn the whip. After the whip fight scene in the rundown, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. I got to learn how to do that, and then I found out how dangerous it was. Like, no, I will definitely lose an eye doing that. So, yeah, like a kangaroo hide whip is like they're like $950.
Oh, okay.
But it has something to do with like because of the whip, the crack is the sonic boom.
Yeah.
Something about kangaroo hide that is very tolerant of that, I guess. Like it doesn't break down like other stuff. And it could be a BS sales pitch, but I actually talked to a guy on the phone who taught people how to use. I mean, I was getting really close. I'm going to be in the backyard using a whip.
Yeah.
But then I figured like, oh, this big white dude who looks like some kind of farmer from Oklahoma half the time anyway, in the backyard practicing a whip is not going to be welcome in Metro. I decided for many reasons not to get into whips, but it's like, yeah, I want someone to throw a chair at me and I just shatter it with a whip. Like that would be cool. It wasn't Indiana Jones though. It was the rundown where I'm decided like I will become a whip master.
It was a good but lesser known movie compared to Indiana Jones that made you.
Yeah.
That guy used 2 whips, right?
Yeah, he used 2. I'm not good enough for 2. I'm not even good enough for 1. But it still looked cool.
Quigley cooks at a fire. He's got a bunch of like lizards here or something. Like Cora joins him. Cora tells her story of her family being like harassed by Indians. Of course, she was invading their space, so Rob mentioned that as well. But she thought they were there to kill them, but apparently they're just kind of drunk and harassing her. And so she thought she was endangered and smothered her child accidentally in fear. And then Roy was her husband, and he put her on a boat to Australia to be rid of her. And then here's where Quigley feels sympathy for her. So it's like, oh, okay, this is terrible. She accidentally killed her child trying to save her child, because she was confused. And that's why she's like stuck in a time where she still has a husband and a child. So, then we cut to Cora and Quigley wake up to being abandoned by the Aborigine, which is kind of their thing, just like leaving. Although we do see them walking away; they don't just disappear completely. So
yeah,
but they do have like some writing on caves and stuff like that. So this seemed to be like an important place to them, or at least for the moment. Then they see like some goons chasing after the tribe to hunt them down. Cora runs after the tribe, probably to try to save the kid she took a liking to. Quigley is picking off the men from a distance. One of the guys gets speared to death. I also have like the interesting spears where there's like a little launcher that you put the spear on and like you launch it.
Yeah, it's like an addle kind of.
Yeah. The last goon gets away and heads back to Elliot. Cora sits over the girl she took a liking to, or the girl she gave a button to. And I don't know if she's dead because it looked like she's breathing. But then they just leave her there, so it's like, oh, she's supposed to be dead. I imagine it's hard to sit in the Australian sun and not breathe and act dead. So,
Yeah, it's probably there's like there's things crawling on the ground that will kill me.
and this girl's basically just has like a grass skirt on, and
Yeah,
that's it. So, um,
but I don't know if those were actors or actual Aborigines that lived like that there.
yeah, I don't know.
I know nothing about Aborigines, so I know they have a cool sounding like I like their musical thing.
Oh, like yeah,
Yeah, that's like cool, but I don't know anything about them.
yeah.
I know that it's like everything else in Australia. It's like, oh, it's like everything's like slightly different. It's like, oh, okay, like they have kangaroos and deers and or that's like our deer and like Aborigines are like Native Americans, but everything's also very different.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, how in the hell do they survive there?
Yeah, well, that's well, like here they're talking about them being like uncivilized and stuff like that. But I imagine like they must have lived on the coast where it was more habitable, and then they're pushed out into the places where you can barely survive, and that must have made them like even more crazy and savage in a way. So, um, which is the same thing we did to the Indians. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Read Blood Meridian if you want to hit the history of America is in Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian.
Um, Quigley goes through the inventory they have and they have acquired. So now they got some water and like they have some pistols and another rifle. I like this part where he says like Marston will know where they are, and she's like, yeah, but we don't even know where we are. So it's like, well, that's right. We're just gonna die by not knowing where we are. We cut to a campfire with Quigley and Cora. She wants to share her blanket with Quigley, which is just like an invitation to sex. And then Quigley refuses to have sex with her until she can call him Matthew. Okay, this is where he says like you can call him Matthew Quigley. He'll have sex with her. We cut to morning. She actually calls him Matthew Quigley here. He tries to be horny for a bit, but she's not having it today. Because they're like walking a horse in the desert and they might die at any moment. So, um, Elliot and his men are hanging out and shooting. This is also where Flynn is shooting stuff. The goons get back to warn. The goon gets back to warn of Quigley. Elliot offers 50 gold coins to bring in Quigley. We cut back to Quigley's out being lost. He hears gunfire, heads off in that direction. He sees the Aborigine are being whipped off a cliffside to their death, which this is like extra brutal. So,
Yeah, they're just running them off a cliff. Yeah.
Quigley sets up to shoot him. He gets flanked by one guy, but then he kills that guy pretty quickly. And then Quigley shoots two more goons, and then one of the goons runs off again because we always need one goon to survive. Cora gets to the cliffside at the bottom of it and distraught by all the dead children and people, which is it's like it's. And then Quigley goes to interrogate the guy who's alive but basically dead, which this is a really interesting scene because Quigley threatens to not kill him if he doesn't talk. So
Yeah.
it's like, we can leave you here and you just let the desert do its thing, but you can't move.
It's like, what'll get you first, the dingoes or the ants? He's like, yeah, that's.
Quigley hands him his revolver and tells him he only has one bullet, so it's like you better so either he shoots Quigley or himself. After he gets information of where to head to go to get to Elliot's. Then we hear a gunshot.
Which that's always a hero thing because in real life it's like, no, I'm just gonna shoot this guy. So he shoot when I walk away and then roll over and get my rifle and then shoot myself. It's like, yeah, it's not.
Cora finds a baby alive amongst the bodies, and then we see Quigley like Caesar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a weird scene.
Yeah,
it's almost like a baby rises from a pile of corpses. Shot. It's like,
whoa. We cut to Quigley and Cora and the baby ride through the desert. They camp in a cave and they try and like derive a strategy to like ride on. Like either they stay together or he brings back help. So they get on. He brings back help. So we cut to the next day. Quigley's heading out. Quigley tries to convince her that if she sees any Aborigine that she should give them the baby because this is like 1-to-1. It's like, oh, good, God gave me a baby. Now it's replaced. And it's like, yeah, that's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
Which is like, which they do give the baby back eventually, which seems kind of like modern movies don't even do that. They just like, here's your new kid. It's like,
well, it's more Australian history. It's actually it's from a movie. There's a movie made about Australia called Rabbit Proof Fence,
I've
and
heard of
it's
that.
yeah, it's actually a great movie. I think Kenneth Branagh's in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about the fence they built across Australia because rabbits were not indigenous, and anything non-indigenous that gets introduced into Australia just scourges the land because it's
Oh
such a
yeah.
bizarre ecosystem. Um, so it was a story. I mean, it talked about that, but it was only a part of the story because it was about taking Aboriginal children from their parents, and then white people raising them, and then they intermarry with the whites, and they have this scene in the movie where they show pictures, and it's like after 3 generations, you can't even tell they were Aborigines, and it's like so it's basically like they're talking about like animal husbandry with people, and it's like it's more civilized than shooting them, because it's still kind of the British guys,
Yeah.
it's like that's a dark movie, but it's these two girls that walk the length of this fence to get back to the family they were taken from.
Oh okay. Huh.
And so that's yeah, but that's like so yeah, white people raising Aboriginal children, like that happened a lot actually at
Okay.
one, because it's like, oh, we can just breed them out and we won't feel guilt. Didn't wipe them out technically, and it's like, okay, yeah, dude, I get it. You're a that's the
Well,
18th and 19th century was such a
yeah.
great for the world.
Well, I just remember like in like Face Off, like you have like the kid famously like dies in the beginning, and then like later on in the movie, it's like he basically gets a kid back, and it's like that's not satisfying at all. That's more creepy than satisfying.
That's weird. I'm your dad now. I own you.
I killed your father with a boat anchor. Oh no, it was a spear gun. That's right.
Yeah, just sounds like a fishing gun. Yeah.
Because like what's that guy's name? The crazy guy.
Um, that was a cool name. Like, sounded like a
Well, I just meant the actor. Was it
Nicholas Cage.
Cage? He's like cutting his face with a boat anchor. Oh no, it was John Travolta's cutting his face with a boat anchor to like try to ruin his face when he gets it back it'll be scarred.
Yeah.
And then he just shoots him with the spear gun. So, um, and then yeah, there's something else like a relatively recent movie versus something like that where it's like the character lost a child and then we basically replaced them. And not The Last of Us, because that's like they do it right where it's like extra brutal where it's like you want your kid back, right? And it's like, yeah. What is this your replacement? It's like, no, this is the end of the fucking world, you moron.
Yeah. Yeah. This isn't some personal catharsis for me. That.
And like even the characters acknowledge, he's like, I'm not your daughter, and he's like, I know, but I don't know what else to do with myself. And it's like,
Yeah. There's not a lot of people around where I can I can rebuild a life.
But like in other movies, it's like we've got a kid now, everything's fixed. It's
Yeah.
like no, it's not happening.
You're gonna have a weird conversation about 5 years. Like, where's my dad? I impaled him to a wall. Air powered gun. Yeah, it's like, huh.
um. So yeah, Quigley rides off. He arrives at like a seaside or oceanside town at night. He stops at the general store to the shop owner to make him some custom ammo, which these are like German like immigrants to Australia.
Yes.
Or at least the lady sounds super German. So
The guy is too. Yeah.
I assume that. So.
Yeah, they could either be German or Scandinavian. You don't know because
Yeah.
everyone's speaking English with an accent. So I don't know.
Quigley.
Script thing says German, so they're
Okay.
German immigrants to Australia.
Quigley learns. Oh yeah, this is where the guys. This is where like because he has custom ammo, but like Quigley explains to him like what he can do to like replace, like you said, just take a infield round and then neck it down and put it in there. So
Yeah.
because like he's retaining all the cartridges he uses because it's a
Yeah.
breech loader. So you load one in, it comes back out, he puts it back into his belt, and then like reloads it later on. So interesting attention to detail that they usually don't bother in this kind of movies.
No, this movie's built around guns. I mean, his use of the gun. I don't even think they ever fire too many rounds because a lot of this movie is like guys trying to reload these things. It's like, yeah, they just don't have bottomless magazine ammo. Because Quigley at one time when he's fighting multiple guys, he just like puts a bullet in each hand.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, I gotta reload.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's cool.
um. Oh yeah, Quigley learns of his reputation, like he's called like the spirit warrior by the Aborigine. So,
Yeah,
which again, he's not doing that on purpose. He's just like killing his way back to Elliot, and then his Elliot's guys are killing the Aborigine. So it's like, well, they're killing innocent, unarmed people, or who are, you know, they don't have comparable firearms they can return with. So he's just killing those guys. So.
yeah.
And they tried to kill him too, so he's perfectly as right. But also, apparently, by the end of the movie, he's being wanted for murder for all these killings here. So, um, he gets some provisions, like he gets some milk and stuff to bring for the baby, and then we cut to Cora and the baby are being stalked by dingoes at night. Which dingoes always kind of seem like, whenever I've seen a dingo, it looks like just like a cute dog. Here, they're very vicious. So.
Well, here's what I learned about dingoes in reading about Australia.
Of course,
So,
there's the famous "the dingo ate my baby," and there's a little baby here, and the dingoes are coming for it. So.
oh yeah, dingoes are like everything else in Australia. It's a form of something. They are technically a canine, like but they have an extra thing attached to them because like dogs and humans, like in Europe and Asia like they live in human houses and they become dependent on humans for food. Dingoes and Aborigines live together and work together, but dingoes fed themselves. So they are not technically domesticated like
Huh.
a dog would be here. So and in Australia, even to this day, it's very controversial whether you can own a dingo. You can own a German Shepherd, you can own a Schnauzer, any domesticated like European or Asian type dog you can own. Dingoes are not quite domesticated. Their heads are larger than dogs in proportion to their body. Their tails are kind of weird, and they don't use barks to communicate a lot. They call them silent dogs. They do bark, but not like human, domesticated dogs
Yeah.
do. They're like, so they had a different path they went with the Aborigines than they did, because humans, it's like we use them to, like, they sleep in our houses and they help defend us and we feed them and they help us hunt. It's like dingoes were kind of like, we live near humans because there is food, warmth, and safety here. But when it's time to eat, they do their thing and we do ours. So they're not quite as like, because that's the big difference with, like, if you get wolf puppies and dog puppies, dogs immediately, like, if you snap your fingers and you point, the dog knows to look. Wolves, if you snap your fingers and point, they look at you, because it's like they have no genetic predisposition to follow your instructions or do anything you tell them.
Huh.
That's why you can't keep them as pets, because they're dangerous. They're wild animals. Dogs have thousands of years and they can kill you too, but it's only certain ones. Like, if you, like, I want a pit bull and I'm going to hit it with a baseball bat every day. Well, eventually it's going to kill you or a baby. So
Yeah.
don't raise it like that. But yeah, like, so that's a weird thing I learned. It's like dingoes, not exactly domesticated animals. Like, interesting. Because the Aborigines were like super practical, and it's like they can hunt, we can hunt. We're not going to hunt for them because we need to eat. They know how to hunt. They can get their own food. We don't eat the same foods, so it's like, yeah, that's a weird, like, thing with those dogs. I could be totally full of crap because I've read a book maybe published in the 70s about it. It seemed interesting.
Cora's trying to hush the baby, but stops from smothering the baby, and then she grabs some guns and starts shooting at the pack.
And then she tells the baby to scream as loud as it wants to. We're all going to make some noise tonight. And then she starts firing guns off next to it. The baby's going to scream. But yeah, she had to, though. She wasn't doing it out of weirdness.
So the pack runs off. She wounds a dog, I think, a couple of times because it walks out wounded, and then the pack just eats it. It's like, that's severe.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah.
Then we cut to Quigley's about to head out. He gives the shopkeep the gold he got from Elliot, which, like, the shopkeep's like, no, I can't possibly. It's like, yeah, it's Elliot's. It's like, oh, well, of course, I'll take it. So.
Yeah.
Quigley is suspicious.
Yeah, shopkeepers are the only people besides Quigley and Cora that are sympathetic to the Aboriginal people at all.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just like, yeah, shoot them. It's fun. These 4 people are like, yeah, don't do this. But I'm taking it these people were not ex-convicts,
Yeah.
part of the British Army, so they wanted to be there. Quigley chose to be there. Everyone else was just like violent when they were brought there. And it's like, well, yeah, we're just going to continue the cycle of violence. And Marsden's just, supposedly his family was murdered by Aborigines, which, like, yeah, that may or may not be a character thing with him. I don't know. It's like, why did they murder you? They don't seem like murderous people. You must have done something.
Yeah.
It's not. They didn't just come out of the desert and like, we're gonna kill. But like I said, I don't know anything about Aborigines, but I've never met one. I've met a lot of Australians, never met an Aborigine. They're outside of people from the Middle East. They're the most common type of foreigner here in Michigan.
Huh.
Or South Africans, but I have a hard time telling them apart because that accent's kind of, it's like, where are you from, man?
Quigley is suspicious as he gets ambushed by several goons, which is just Quigley's, like, what do you call it? Extra perception of being ambushed.
Yeah. He sees into the distance. Quigley's not looking at his boots. He's always looking up.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, and he's hitting things at a quarter mile away or half a mile away with his bare eye, so he has no magnification on things. So
using steampunk technology, knocking it out.
So yeah, he's getting chased out by the guys. He jumps through a window to escape, or to keep them from, because there's like somebody that walks out like basically directly into crossfire. So I'm not sure if he jumped through the window to get them to like not shoot at him, or if he's just like, oh, they're got in my way. So
I think it was a combination of both. And
Okay.
It's like, man, I mean, he's got the heavy clothes on. You don't want to get cut up, in that environment.
Yeah.
But it was like, I could get in a shootout with this guy and probably win, but I guarantee you the guy in between us is getting hit one way or another.
Yeah.
So he's always the white hat, so that's the decision he's gonna make.
And then a lantern gets shot and it catches the stairs on fire, and the fire starts to grow, and so now Quigley's stuck upstairs. But then he breaks his way through the skylight as the building burns, and like uses his rifle as like puts it up through, twists it, and uses it to pull himself up. I was like, that's neat.
I like that's one of my favorite escape, and I like how quickly that house burns because it would burn that way.
Yeah.
It's like a house where the wood's just like, just aged in the desert. It's like, yeah, that's going up quick. Or it won't burn at all because there's no value in it left.
There's no calories left.
But yeah, when I see Quigley escape like that, I'm like, man, I got to get in shape. I couldn't even pull my body weight up there.
Yeah, could I do that? I could maybe do that. You'd have to really fling my legs up.
I don't have the upper body strength to do it, regardless of what I weigh.
Well, I mean, it's not too far from it. I could maybe do that. I don't know. But also, I would fear the rifle breaking as soon as I did that.
Yeah.
But Tom Selleck's a large man, so I don't know. How tall is he? Is he like... He looks like he's 6'4" in this movie, but maybe that's because the lady's so small. Is he like 6'1" and just everybody?
He's probably like my height or something, but yeah.
But everyone in Hollywood's like 4'11", so he just looks bigger.
Well, and also they probably put the camera. They probably shoot up at him.
Yeah. Make him
look the hero. Heroes.
There's a crowd rushing to bring buckets of water to the fire. It's like, that's good detail. The fire brigade's at it, which is just the entire town with buckets of water.
It's everyone's problem at that point.
Yeah, because it's going to spread to your house too, so you better get it out. Do you know what this building is? Is this like the inn, or what is this place?
It looked like a motel, like a saloon type.
Okay.
Drinking downstairs and places to sleep and do other carnal things upstairs.
Quigley breaks his way through a skylight. Oh yeah. Quigley ambushes one guy from the roof by just like grabbing a piece of like one of the smokestacks.
Chimneys.
Yeah, just throws it on him.
He has to grab and hold with 2 hands because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
And then he drops it on the guy. And it's like, that guy's dead.
And then he pops back up a minute later.
No, in real life, like that guy's
dead.
His head is like embedded in his torso.
And then Quigley jumps from one roof to the other roof, and then he just breaks right through the roof on the other one, which is funny.
And because he says it's like one of the few times he cusses, he's like, "Oh shit," you know, 'cause
Yeah.
he's in someone's house.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep,
Um. Yeah, this is where he like, runs out of the house and like I can't remember if he shoots the guy that's dazed from being hit on the head, but he does something to him, and then he like runs off and he ends up behind a boat as like the goons surround him. It's like they're shooting at the boat, but then he's able to like kind of. There's like a weird geometry of where this boat is and weird hills and bricks in the way. He can crawl his way out of there without being noticed, and then he like ends up in like a sewer system to pop out behind them.
Well, this is when I thought there was like a Quigley code to this movie because he has his hat up a lot when he's doing things. But when the hat comes down, it's time to shoot someone. Or, you know, there's different reasons the hat comes down. When the hat's up, Quigley's in a bind. And when the hat goes down, it's like, oh, he's ready to shoot. Well, in this case, the hat went down and he shimmied into the drain port or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the hat was what was revealing him over the top of the boat. And these guys are emptying their slow to reload guns into this boat hull, which was probably part of his plan.
Yeah, guys. Now they're stuck reloading as he comes behind them. So.
Which is stupid bad guys. Like, yeah, I got a gun that takes 5 minutes to reload. Quick, let's empty it. No, don't. Especially the one guy's like two-handed it. Like, just keep one as a reload. The fastest reload is a full gun. Yeah. So.
Quigley kills two of the guys and taunts the last guy. The German lady has been killed in the scuffle. Quigley grabs the last guy to warn Marston he's coming for him.
Yeah.
Sad that being the end of Act 2. The town's still on fire at this point.
Yeah.
They come back here, so it gets put out eventually. But like I thought the town was done for after this fire, but they get it out eventually. So. Of Act 3, the goon comes to deliver the message to Elliot. We come back to Quigley. Quigley gets back to the cave and sees a bloody carcass and more blood, but that's just like with the dingo that got ate. He finds Cora asleep with a gun. She wakes up saying she killed the Comanches, and so that's her reliving her what do they call that?
When like revisiting trauma.
Yeah, but it's like that therapy where like you put
like
yourself
shock therapy.
Yeah, but
like, I'm afraid of spiders, and they just put tarantulas.
Yeah. I forget there's a name for that, but
yeah,
which I think has slightly been debunked as not necessarily the best way to do things.
It doesn't look nice.
He has clothes for her, and so they're riding out on horses, and she has a new blue dress, so now he has two horses to get her out of there. It's dawn. They reach the oceanside town again. They're staying at the journal shop, I believe, because the owner's outside. The owner's speaking with the Aboriginal people. Quigley goes out there and he says, like, I forget, he says something where it's like, you deserve to be happy or something like that. But then she comes out after him and she hands the baby off to them, and then they leave. Which I'm not sure if they're there for the baby or if they're just there. I don't know. So.
It probably there to deal with the trader, and it like comes up. It's like, oh, we have a baby of your people, of your tribe. I don't know that group, in that area, but it's like, but it's implied like it's almost like her option.
Yeah. And
the better choice is like let the baby be raised by its people.
Yeah.
Or it's like, well, in 3 generations, no, it's gonna happen.
Cut to its morning. Quigley heads off to go after Elliot. Cora sees him off. We cut to Elliot's goons are preparing for Quigley. Elliot is just firing off a revolver in his backyard. Is there a reason he's doing this, or I can't remember?
Yes, he wants to clean it out and get fresh reloads in it.
Oh, okay.
Because it's still the cap and ball style, so he doesn't want like old, potentially foul or anything.
Okay.
He's ready for this showdown. I do like some of the classic Alan Rickman like shittiness that comes through when earlier in the movie when O'Flynn is practicing and he's like whipping the gun out and shooting things like a gunslinger very fast, and he's like, you think I'll be good as you one day, Marston? And he's like, if you practice, how Alan Rickman does his teeth, it's like, oh, if you practice, he's like, yeah. He goes, no. He does the same. There's a way that Alan Rickman was nasty in movies. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is he going to say something nice? It's no.
One of the guards outside is on a horse. He sees Quigley, and then it's implied he got shot. It's sunset now. Quigley sends the horse back with a note saying that anyone can leave safely except for Elliot. So good, some good mind warfare here, or what do you call it? Psychological warfare.
Yeah.
We cut to morning. They've been up all night. 3 men ran off in the night. And then Quigley shoots 2 guys with 1 bullet. So that's good. I mean, they never really like get down to the idea that he's running out of ammo, but it's still like considered at least, I guess. So
Yeah.
but that's not why he shot these 2 guys. It wasn't because he's running out of ammo. It's just like, well, that's an
Well,
opportunity.
even if he had 20 bullets, he's like every shot hits. So
Yeah.
he's gonna win.
Then they say like, yeah, we should do something he doesn't expect, which I thought that meant they were going to surrender, but then it's just like they just go straight after.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna light the house on. I forgot this. I thought they lit something on fire.
Yeah.
But it's no, they're just gonna like charge straight at him.
Yeah,
Like,
which doesn't seem clever at all. It's like,
yeah, it's like the worst plan.
like wasn't that what you expect? Because they're all stupid. So,
Yeah. Let's charge a sniper. Yeah, we'll win. Sure. Some of us will, maybe.
well, they did have 3 like charging straight up at him, and they have O'Flynn kind of running a flank. So that's
Yeah.
the best they're trying to do here. They find a leftover fire, then Quigley himself, and then they just give chase. Quigley's like, I believe, intentionally riding down like really steep hills to get these riders to fall off because they're just
Yeah.
not as good as him.
Oh, by the way, they have no mercy on horses in this movie. Because remember when they were running the Aborigines off the cliff, and he shoots one of them, and like the guy is dead, and the horse just runs off the edge.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they filmed it. They showed like the horse and the guy falling. It's like they have horse stuntmen.
Oh yeah.
It's like it looked like that horse was just falling into the. I mean, I know they were landing on a pad or something, but
Remember, Nathan? Like there was 50 years of training horses for movies. Like that's
I just never think of horses as performing stunts with dudes on them. It's like you think
Yeah.
that animal's going to get wild.
I mean, I think they have like 2 specific horses to do that. Like you'd have the one that does this fall, and then you'd have the other one to ride around.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if one does all of it, but yeah.
I always. Think
I mean,
horses
they.
are dangerous.
Immediately as the movie ends, it says no animals are hurt during the.
Yeah,
filming
it's
of
like
the-
they put it up in big letters. Put it in 20-point font. Like we really didn't kill that horse. If you say so, I'm gonna. It was filmed in Australia. I know it's different there.
I forget what the western it's from, but there's like there's some like basically they rode these horses down like a 90-degree or 180-degree cliff. It seemed like almost like they're just like, it's like there's no way these horses are alive. That's crazy. And it's like, yeah, they just trained them to do that. So yeah.
Huh? Well, it's very. I know what you're talking about. It's very cinematic. But,
Yeah.
And horses won't. I mean, all they do is walk and run. So I guess they are experts at it. They won't let themselves fall.
I mean, well, they can train them to fall too, because there are those ones where they have them like they're running at full gallop and then they'll just like tumble over forward, and it's like they're trained to do that. They're not just like yanking their feet out from under them. So.
Yeah, no, that would break legs. Sad. So yeah, it's time for Quigley to do his Home Alone stuff.
Another 2 give chase, and he knocks. There's a trap he has set up, but he has to like hit it with the butt of his rifle to get it to go, which is weird. It's like, man, you just broke that rifle, but that's fine. It's the hardest thing in this movie. This is good. And then that sets up. That pulls this rope taut, and he basically like hang lines these guys, but they're not dead yet. So even though they've taken this like pretty brutal
right to the neck on a horse falling the hill,
and they like surrender to him, and like one guy's like, what's he called? Like, throw over that hog leg. That's what they call it. And then like he throws the pistol, but he throws that at the other guy. The other guy catches it, and he tries to shoot Quigley, and Quigley shoots that guy, and then the guy surrenders again. It's like, well, this isn't gonna work. And then there's 2 more guys show up. The Scottish guy. Shows up. Where he seems like the most competent guy, and then he just progressively becomes more of a coward throughout the movie. So
he accuses other people of cowardice all along the way.
So like they start pinning him down. That he shoots. The other guy goes to grab a pistol, so he shoots that guy too. The guy he like that surrendered twice. So now he's pinned down by these rocks as he's taking fire from these other two guys. Um, so yeah, one of the guys, yeah, this is where he like points a gun at the one guy. He's like, "Hey, go flank him." He's like, doesn't want to, but then he doesn't. He goes and does it, and then
Yeah, he says, "Go flank him. I'll cover you." And the guy's like, "This rock's covering me just fine." So then he sticks the gun in his face. He says, "No, go flank him now." So yeah,
and he does get around, but then Quigley shoots that guy. But then Quigley shoots at the Scottish guy, and he says like, "I got you dead to rights. You might as well surrender." And the Scottish guy starts to surrender, and this is where O'Flynn like gets a grazing shot on Quigley, and then he goes down.
no, he shoots him in the leg. He shoots him through the leg.
Oh, through the leg. Okay.
Yeah.
It does bleed, but also just kind of looks like it's a nuisance rather than like a danger. So
Yeah, later on in the movie, it becomes like more apparent, like he's consistently bleeding.
yeah.
So that's where I assume, oh, he took a shot through the leg.
Um. Oh yeah, I forgot. Like he kills that one. He doesn't shoot that one guy. He shoots his trap, which then releases rocks and trees and it hits that guy.
That guy takes a log to the face.
Yeah.
So.
And then he holds up the Scottish guy.
Yeah, the Scottish guy, by the way, is named Dobkin, and he has a really cool. His Colt revolver is like stainless steel.
Yeah.
It's a short barreled one, and it's called the U.S. Marshal.
Huh.
Colt
Okay.
Navy U.S. Marshal.
Huh.
So it's a cool looking gun. Yeah, that guy's name's Dobkin. And his character arc was he was like a Scottish dragoon.
Okay.
So he was like a professional soldier. He wasn't just a convict. So he's like Marsden's head man.
Okay.
Yeah.
But O'Flynn.
If you know who the dragoons are, watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson. They're
Okay.
the baddies in that movie.
I only know dragoons from like Final Fantasy, and they were like weird spearsmen that fought dragons.
At the Revolutionary War, the Scottish dragoons were like they were like a special internal force that the British Army used for really brutal tactics. And they actually did stuff like, yeah, let's put all the women and children in a church and light it on fire. Like they were hated people. Like General Washington said, it's like, yeah, don't ever capture those guys, just kill them. So
Yeah.
that was a real thing.
Scottish were really violent people, but there's something about like hills and a lack of resources that made people very violent.
Well, they resisted the British like way longer than anyone else too. Like
Yeah.
they resisted for a long time, and yeah, they have a very unique. There was like 4 distinct cultures that exist there, and they have one of the most unique. Like the Welsh and that stuff's interesting too. But the Scottish really like still to this day set themselves apart as like, yeah, that's who they are.
Well, I heard that like the whole Hatfield and McCoy thing, like their
Yeah.
blood feud. I hear that's just basically like transported from Scotland to like
Yes.
the hills of the Appalachia.
Yeah, that's clan warfare just with rifles and hillbillies.
Yeah,
And a lot of the people in that's called Scotch Irish, which is like that's a weird generalized term, but basically meant Protestant Irish and Scottish people. Those are considered the Scotch Irish. And if you have like a lot of Scotch, like if you're like right down the middle ancestry wise, it means you were a hillbilly in America. That's what that means. It's like at some point your family was in Appalachia. Now they might have moved to Missouri or somewhere else, or they stayed there. But yeah, that's.
And I'm not entirely sure, but I think Scottish invented fried chicken. I mean, it all depends on your definition of it, but
Scottish cuisine is amazing. From all the comedians I hear that go to like the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, they're like, yeah, those guys really try different things there. They have Mexican restaurants that are horrible. They have Italian restaurants that are terrible. They have their own native food, which is like fried guts, and it's like, oh, okay, they just don't do food here in Scotland. I mean, I've never been there, but that's what like 50 different comedians who've gone to Fringe Festival, they all say the same thing. Like,
so now
they're all excited if you're like an American. It's like, oh, we got a Mexican place here, you'll love it. It's like, where did this idea of Mexican food come from? It's like,
I don't know how you fuck up Mexican food. It's so stupid simple. It's like spices, meat, cheese, and tortillas. Like, how do you fuck that up?
I don't know how they, but I always hear the stories of like, oh, it's like we got Tex-Mex here in like, you know, somewhere in Europe, and it's always like the worst. Everyone says it's like it's the worst thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to eat like snails and shit, like people what you people have been doing for like 1,000 years. I don't. Yeah. Tex-Mex, I can get that anywhere in the U.S.
And there's sometimes where it's like, Taco Bell isn't really, real Mexican food, but there's a crunch to it and a competency to it that you appreciate, even though it's like the cheapest food in the world.
Yeah, it's just basically garbage. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, there's certain crunch to it that I appreciate about where like if you go to a Mexican restaurant, there's always kind of something wet about everything, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really have that crunch. But
No, I've discovered from years of cooking and learning to do my own thing, it's like what I really like is what they call Tex-Mex,
yeah,
where it's like lots of whole beans, a little more, not as much cayenne pepper, more, what's that stuff called? Like chili powder.
yeah, yeah,
It's more of a darker red sauce than like pure Mexican food is its own thing.
yeah, yeah,
What we really like is like what you call Tex-Mex.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's what I've like read recipes, and that's how I make my chili now and everything, because that's my favorite genre of food.
So now Quigley's just being dragged by a horse to the ranch, which that's brutal.
Yeah.
Quigley's brought before Elliot. Elliot's like setting up for a duel, so like they put his rifle away. It looks like they're trying to stage like a defense, we shot him in self defense, but then they just like throw the rifle completely away, and then they give Quigley a revolver, which Elliot's like, it's stated.
Give him one of Marsden's revolvers, so
yeah.
It's not a self defense thing. It's like I want to kill this guy, but I want to make it seem like I killed him on his terms and I won.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, throwing the rifle on the ground is going to be stupid because I would shoot him dead before he can't scramble to the ground and get up and shoot me. We're going to do a what does he call it? A Dodge City like pistol, but he thinks he's got the advantage because Quigley said he never had much use for pistols.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to take him out like Wild Bill Hickok? Like,
yeah.
I'm Wild Bill Hickok, and I'm going to take Quigley out.
And he still has his two goons who are kind of keeping watch just in case. And then
because if Marsden goes down, we kill him and then steal everything. But whatever his goons. It's an unfair fight either way. It's 3-on-1. Everyone's holding guns in their hands except Marsden and Quigley.
And then Elliot draws, and then Quigley draws after and kills all three guys. And
she's like heart shoots all three.
And then Elliot is like squirming as he dies, and he says to him like, "I said I didn't have much use for revolvers. I didn't say I didn't know how to use them." So, which is a fun little back pocket thing. It's like, he's just good at any gun.
I did like Elliot's line though, as they're about to do the feud, the draw. He's like, "I think I was born on the wrong continent." Like, no, I should have been in the I was born on the wrong continent. Like, I should have been in Dodge City. I'm the master of this. And then he finds out, no, I'm not.
The Aboriginal like servant approaches Quigley with his rifle and hands it over to him. So that's and then the Aboriginal guy like strips and walks away, and then the two Aboriginal women like follow along.
You see the Aboriginal, like the guy that was the house servant, has like cool like scarification on his chest.
Yeah.
But like none of the other people we have seen have.
Yeah.
So he must be like a head guy or something.
Okay. So I didn't know if that was like tortured stuff or like something that was done like what do you call that? Designed or body modification type stuff.
Yeah, I call that like like that was ritually done. That wasn't to torment him because it had some artistry to it. I mean, it looks like painful, but I'm a guy who doesn't even have tattoos, so I'm a real coward when it comes to that.
I'd get tattoos, but I just I know I have dumb ideas and I don't want to put them on me forever. So
I don't get tattoos because my body sucks and I don't want to draw attention to like my skinny arms and my weird potato body. So it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna like, hey, look at this. That's not my thing.
well, I almost want to get like the tattoos but like it probably would over time just be useless. But like um Adam Savage has like tattoos on his arms of like scaling and stuff like that, so he can and a ruler, so he can like do quick measurements because he always has a ruler on him. So.
Nice. That's actually kind of fun. I like that thinking. I never do it, but I like the thinking.
Yeah.
Because Adam Savage is actually an engineer and an expert at that. So
Yeah, which I'd have to like like just put the Pythagorean theorem. Let's just tattoo that on an arm somewhere. They as they always tell you like you won't have it on you. And it's like, well, it's tattooed on me, so how can I not know? So
the only thing I ever thought of doing like tattoo wise was like Anthony Hopkins from Titus, like the poster. Where remember where he's all blue, covered in blue mud.
yeah,
I think that would be a cool tattoo, but it's like doing that. That's stupid.
I'd be wary of faces. I've seen so many bad face tattoos on people. So
There's people in Ann Arbor I know that.
oh,
Could,
okay.
I actually talked to him about it, and it was like $580. What it looked like that is like it would look exactly like that. But it's like, what does that send? What message does that
Yeah.
send me to the world? It's
I,
like, oh, look, he likes Shakespeare's worst play in a cool Julie Taymor movie. That it's like, yeah, I'm not permanently sending that message out.
the closest thing I would want is the symbol for the Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker game, which was a peace symbol made out of a B-52 bomber. It's like great irony. I love
Oh
it.
yeah, I've seen that. We talked about this before. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the circle's it's kind of like segmented in a way where it's actually this weird barcode, which I forget what it says, but it's Kojima doing his deep symbolism stuff. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, and yeah. Oh crap, what's his game? Oh man, Death something.
Death Stranding.
Yeah, Death Stranding 2 is coming out in July. So
Okay, well, good. I'll be on YouTube watching
yeah,
while I'm building a model.
did you watch all the videos for Death Stranding 1? So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I'm a big
Okay.
fan, but it's like I don't have 900 hours to dedicate to a video game. So,
Yeah.
because I'm too busy like recreating like a World War One tank or something equally as useless, but more entertaining for me.
We cut to Quigley washes his face. The British platoon shows up. Quigley grabs a couple of pistols and puts them in his belt. Quigley gets surrounded and waits for something to happen. They have a note that says like he's wanted for murder, which I don't know who like did this. Like, is this just Elliot pulling strings, or how'd this come up?
It's got to be Elliot pulling strings because
okay.
he's a massive landowner in that area, which means he would be very powerful. And he seems to have like the British Army, like he has some kind of relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I like the guy who plays this British major because he's your classic like old school caricature of like a British army guy. Even wears monocle and nonsense like that.
Yeah, he's kind of like,
but he's very dirty.
Yeah. Well, he's also like, he's a coward that gets to hide behind bureaucracy, and he loves that.
British way, yeah. And he's also like a Mad Max character because, like, he's in Australia. He's wearing that classic like red coat uniform that, like, I don't even know if they wore those at that time in that climate and era.
Yeah,
it's like immediately for Quigley. It's like, oh yeah, we threw you guys out.
Yeah.
We hate you guys.
But then like a slight sandstorm moves in, and suddenly they're all surrounded by Aboriginal people. Like on the hills, they're just completely surrounded.
Yeah.
Very cool looking.
And they very distantly play that instrument. That it's called a didgeridoo. I looked it up.
Okay, yeah.
I like the sound of that. It's probably like super cliched and not even accurate culturally. It's like I enjoy it.
um, and so yeah, then the British like see that they're surrounded and they leave. And then Quigley uses his bandana to tie his wound off, and then when he looks back up, all the Aboriginal are gone. So it's like, wow, it's like were they ever here to begin with? I don't know, but it's
That's very good, like troop management. Amazing.
um. Then we cut to Quigley's about to get on a boat. He's distracted by Cora. She now has like a red black dress or whatever, and
She wants, yeah, the dress she wants because she
Yeah.
always wanted a red dress, but he could only get her a blue dress.
yeah,
For so now she has a red dress. So
Okay,
it means
okay.
everyone's in a better place. Quigley's looking clean, not like he got drugged behind a horse and received a leg wound that was, he probably would have bled out on. But yeah,
But yeah, he gets distracted by Cora as the ticket maker's about to shoot Quigley for the reward, and this is as Quigley like looks at Cora. Like I'm not. I mean, they've done this throughout the movie where he just has a sixth sense for danger. I'm not sure if he did this intentionally or unintentionally, but he uses the name Roy as a cover, which is kind of
Yeah.
a fun little thing here. Which I'm guessing, once the British came to kill him, he knew that he was wanted, so maybe not use his real name. So
he probably heard because the guy, of course, because guns in movies then and now, like even Glocks, for some reason, a gun with an internal hammer that does not get cocked. Whenever someone pulls it out, it's like click. They don't do that, but yeah, in this revolver, this little Derringer this guy has clearly like loudly clicks. Like
Yeah.
he's in the hammer back, he's ready to go, and then he gives because he's looking at the wanted poster, he's looking at the name, and he's like, and it's an American. It's like this guy's clearly an American. What's your name? He's like Roy, and he looks at her. So I'm guessing he heard the gun click.
yeah.
So
So he gets 2 tickets to go back to San Francisco, so he's leaving with Cora, and then Quigley and Cora share a kiss, and he's like 3 times the size of her. So
yeah, this giant man is gonna. You are my bride, and she is like, it's like the 3 faces of Eve. Sometimes you're Roy, sometimes you're Quigley, and as their relationship goes on, it's like, well, when I need money, you're Quigley. When I'm angry at you, you're Roy, who abandoned me like you did, but didn't.
Well, also before like he kisses her, she says like, "It's like you said I could sleep with you if I said 2 words," and she says Matthew Quigley, and he doesn't immediately get shot, so he and then kisses her. So.
Yep, it's gonna be a fun boat ride. 3 months with no shower. Amazing.
So yeah, that is the end of Quigley Down Under. Like a pretty good movie.
A movie that kind of redeems itself as it goes along.
Yeah.
It has like a kind of a fat middle, and then it definitely redeems itself at the end.
Yeah.
It's a very uneven movie.
Yeah, I think the story is a problem because it's like, what's his motivation to be there in the first place, and it's just kind of happenstance. And then he's just there dealing with it, which that's fine. That's kind of like the bulk of the story, and then we see like what's happening with the Aboriginal people, and he's not like solving the problem; he's just assisting along the way. So when he leaves,
I'll kill the people that are immediately doing the evil, like right in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as your larger term problem, it's like, well, I'm going back to.
Yeah, I'm not a politician. I'm not going to solve this.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm not going to take your baby. Here's your baby.
Yeah. 3 generations. I had to rewind that. Watch that movie. Just go ahead and watch it. We don't have to do it for the show, or maybe someday we will. Because I don't. But it is like the most harrowing movie of like scientifically laid out.
Okay.
What do you call that? What's that science called?
Oh, eugenics.
Yes. It's like great 19th century eugenics explained, and everyone in the room is like, "Yes, bravo!" It's like, wow, these people. Because the sad truth of it is like these guys don't think this is wrong. They don't realize it's like we are learned men, and this is absolutely breed the Aborigines out, and we will have a perfect society. Like, just complete horse blinders about like that's really screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like for a kind of a goofy title for a movie, Rabbit Proof Fence. I remember it had like I remember it being like, oh, it's actually really dark for what the title implies. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. There's actually, after you watch what Watership Down, like every, darkness just surrounds rabbits. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and was it Absolution or what's that last, James Vandermeer book we read where it just had like the cannibal rabbits and stuff.
Oh yeah. It was. Oh, damn it. What was the?
Was that Absolution or what was it?
Yeah, I think it was. Because yeah, we had annihilation, authority, and acceptance. Yeah, absolution. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're sending a probe into space containing the supercut of the imperfect scenes, the scenes from the imperfect collection that is the Vera Effect. Nathan, what one scene from this movie are we shoving into space?
We got to send the bucket scene.
All right.
One knows. It's
Yeah, did you ever like show this movie to somebody? Like, you'll like this, and then just show them the bucket scene, or?
yeah, I think me and my friend Matt, who we did a podcast like 10 years ago together, I think I showed him. I think that's we watched this on one of our mini nights after work. It's like we got off work at midnight. It's like, let's watch movies till the sun comes up. We're gonna watch movies and smoke cigarettes until the sun comes up. So I believe I did introduce him to this.
Okay. We have you can find us on Letterboxd, username VHE. 1 out of 5 stars. What are we giving this movie?
I'm gonna give this movie 4 stars.
Okay.
Because I know it's not very popular. It's like a 50% like Metacritic thing. But
hey Nathan, this is one of these 5 stars on Amazon one. I know that doesn't mean anything, but usually fan favorites get 5 stars even if they don't deserve it. So.
Well, I mean, this movie has problems, but I enjoy it a lot. It was like watching it, and it's like 2.5 hours, isn't it?
I think it's.
Or was it an hour? Was it 2:20?
I think it's like. I want to say it's like almost exactly 2 hours. I'll find it. So.
Okay.
No, almost 2 hours. An hour and 59 minutes.
Okay, so I thought it was a little longer than that, but it seemed like very quick.
Yeah.
It does. It sags in the middle. I'll give you that. It does. That was a criticism of it. Roger Ebert didn't like it. He said it was also formulaic, and it is.
Yeah.
But it again, it's one of those things. Like, at the time it came out, it's like probably not the perfect Western. But when you look at like the arc of what Westerns were becoming, it's like, oh, you can see the roots in this. Just like I cited like the Outlaw Josie Wales was probably a more formidable example of what Westerns became in the 90s. This kind of started the trend. It had elements of that hokey past and also kind of the grim darkness.
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
So I think it balanced that in a PG-13 movie also.
Yes.
But it kept within those boundaries. So in light of all that, I'm going to say 4 out of 5.
Okay. And I guess we'll try a new feature. Nathan, what have we learned today?
Everything I said about Australia was probably horseshit, but I enjoyed reading all the books. I enjoyed my encounters with Australians here in Southeast Michigan. They seem like friendly folks, and their country's history is fascinating. I don't want to go there. It's under the southern hemisphere, and I'm not interested.
It's a 16-hour plane ride.
Spiders can kill you. It's like only 2 spiders in America that can kill you. There's like 100 in Australia. So, but there's things about it that I think are cool. I like Mad Max. I like the car culture. The only other country I know of in the English-speaking world that has a car culture outside of the U.S. Both of those are dead now, by the way. But, in the past, they had one. So I always loved Australian car culture, and I've always had a soft spot for Australian movies and Australian people. So, yeah, that's what I got out of it, and I've tried to read as much as possible. And I've been told by many people, Nathan, knowledge you gain from books doesn't count. So... because everyone likes to make me feel dumb and like I don't know anything because I'm like, hey, I read this. This is interesting. I didn't, and I'm going to discount what you read. It's like, cool. Now we're both smart people. So. But
And remember, if you in 5 scenes you treat a lady nice, she'll have sex with you.
yeah, exactly. And what did we actually learn from the movie besides personal antecedents? It's like you can incidentally be a white savior, and if you don't claim credit for it, you're a good guy. You're not a colonizer or whatever the modern parlance is. So, yeah, you can do that too.
um, well, you can find us at veroeffect.com. There we have listener support. You can support us on monthly type on either 99 cents, 4.99 or 9.99. Cancel anytime. You can rate our podcast whatever you want. You can rate our podcast whatever you want on your platform of choice. The only thing it listens to is highest rating. Remember, confuse the algorithm. Give us a boost so we can bring fairness back to the market.
Yeah, because whatever you think of this content, and I'm sure you don't think much of it, remember, no AI was generating this at all. This is completely human grown, flawed, organic. It's not curated in any way by any machine intelligences at all. It is imperfect memories and totally terrible diatribes about movie theory and everything else. But by God, it's original. It comes from organic minds, not silicon.
Human made.
It's the flaws that make it beautiful, right? Japanese thing where you glue vases back together imperfectly and their flaws are what makes them unique.
Huh, okay.
That's this pod. There's a name for it, and I don't remember it because that's part of the charm of our show. Half-remembered nonsense.
Immersion therapy. That's the thing I was thinking of.
Immersion therapy. So if you're covered with spiders, only good things will happen.
Yeah, get over your fear of spiders, right? It's like, no, it's just a new fear.
Yeah. I was afraid of one spider. Now I'm covered in them. A new door to hell is just opened. Thanks.
You can find us at Twitter at Verhoeven Effect. You can find us at Blue Sky Social at Verhoeven Effect. You can find us at Facebook at Verhoeven Effect. And you can find us on YouTube at American Greed Factory. You can watch both this and that show live and unedited. So for the Verhoeven Effect podcast, I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
Goodbye, America.